Good evening, everybody. Well, we are in Mumbai. I think we have all the reasons to be happy and excited for the day. Let's try it once more. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. Well, yes, once again, a very, very good evening to one and all present out here. Greetings of the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this beautiful day we all have been gathered here for. Well, this is Neha Argupta. I'll be the host for the day. And we are here on the spirit of gifting with something extremely picky, something extremely choosy. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out from your busy schedules, coming down and marking this spectacular gathering with your glorious presence. Well, today we sit here to share the knowledge. Today we sit here to set the vision. And of course, at the same time, we are here to celebrate each one of you. And before we have a very, very kick start, may I please request all of you to give a thunderous round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spandana 2.0. Thank you very much. Well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, as we all are aware that we support the women empowerment, we truly believe and trust being into the women entrepreneurs and keep supporting them. Well, of course, when we talk about success doesn't mean how much money do we make, but success is measured by how much difference do we make in people's life. And Spandana, as a fraternity, as an organization, as an institution, have definitely made so much of difference in people's life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we sit here to celebrate this particular day and set the true vision for the upcoming years, may I please request you all to kindly be very cheerful. And before we begin this event, I would like to give you a small compliment. May I? A compliment. So basically, you people are looking super duper rich today. Well, rich not in terms of monetary numbers, but rich in terms of pride, rich in terms of attitude, rich in terms of achievements, and rich in terms of success. And we are absolutely here to celebrate your success. Ladies and gentlemen, we sit here with the trailblazers, with the trendsetters, with the go-getters, with the groundbreakers. In short, we sit here in a room filled with the leaders, the movers and shakers of micro investment finance industry. So please put your hands together. Let's be a bit more cheerful before we start and begin this evening. Yes, please, everybody. And of course, this evening is going to be having a lot of knowledge sharing. Before we move on further, let me just set the tone in this environment, in this room filled with such amazing leaders out here. So people, can we all stand up for a while? Everybody, from the start till the end. Everyone, please stand up, stand up, stand up. Come on. I know it's Monday evening. We are here to work. We are here to set the goals. We are here to set the bar super duper high. Let me start by saying one quotation, which is by Henry Ford. State that individual commitment to a group makes the company work, the organization work, the society work, and the civilization work. So are we ready to put everyone? Are we ready to put individual commitment? Is it a yes? Come on, we have so many people here. Let's be a bit more louder. Is it a yes? Okay, so quickly, let's do a small activity. It's going to be absolutely free of cost. Let's do this. How many of you like free stuff, by the way? Okay, we have got people. All right. So let's do this. How many people are happy here? Take your right hand up. Take your right hand up and give me a shout out. All the happy people, can we make some noise? Wow, great. Keep it raised. Keep it raised. Okay. How many of you are very, very happy? Both hands up and give me a shout out. Come on. All the very, very happy people, make some noise. Perfect, perfect. Keep it raised, keep it raised. All right. How many of you are very, very, very happy? Both hands and a leg up. Come on, let's do this. And make some noise. And those extremely happy, both hands, both legs up. Thank you so much. Please take your seats, everyone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Spandana 2.0, it's going to be all about increasing the business, but of course, at the same time, supporting Bharat, India, our nation. Well, of course, as we all are aware, that we are the largest microfinance in India, in our country India, and onto the same zone, we have 12,600 plus employees. We have 1,500 plus branches, and we have catered almost more than 27 lakh borrowers. Isn't that a proud moment for all of us? Can we all put our hands together? Are we proud of being the part of Spandana? Yes, please. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, of course, with this, I thank everyone. Thank you for taking the time out, being here with us, and making this evening a super grand success. Well, this is just a beginning. We have got so much more in store for all of you. Well, on that note, we are going to be showcasing a beautiful journey out here onto the screens. It's not going to include the vision, but definitely it's going to include our growth, the culture, and what kind of difference do we make in people's life. And before we move on further, team, can we play the AV, please? Everyone, please have a look onto the AV.
With the dream and aspiration to have an owned enterprise, Srilatha took the courageous step to open the Girni business in 2020. Her daily grind, patience, and self-belief got her business not just profitable in 3 years, but also she was able to add a ginger garlic paste machine to her business. Similarly, Bhanu B, with fire in her belly and confidence in her skills, started a loom to make Gadwal silk saris in 2019. Fueled by the indomitable spirit and a zest for life of such enterprising women, India's GDP could increase by an additional 60% or $2.9 trillion by 2025. It is with this objective that Spandana has been the partner behind the success of over 9.5 million women borrowers across Bharat through its microloans for the past 25 years. For us, womanhood has been the bedrock of our success. Women empowerment and women entrepreneurship coupled with the spirit of collaboration, togetherness and shared responsibility. As a microfinance lender, it is our commitment to build a resilient Bharat that is inclusive, equitable, secure, and offers decent work opportunities for all our stakeholders. One that consistently strengthens the socio-economic well-being of women. Today, through our 1,500 plus branches across 19 states, and with over 12,500 devoted employees, we are able to provide hassle-free and personal connection to our 2.7 million women borrowers.
नमस्ते सर, मैं स्पंदना स्फूर्ति हेड ऑफिस से बात कर रही हूँ जी।
Spandana Sphoorty Financial Limited is a pan-India microfinance company. Our primary business line is to give small ticket loans to our customers. 100% of our customers are women, and we strongly believe that this is the highest level of women empowerment that as an institution we can do. Outside of microfinance, we have a wholly owned subsidiary called Chris Financials Limited, where we do two more businesses. There's a loan against property, where we extend loan to our borrowers against the properties that they would own. And the second business line is nano enterprise loans. The nano enterprise loans are essentially loans to shopkeepers, retailers, and the small time businessmen. Being an institution, we are 90% rural, or we are 90% in Bharat of India.
We have been on a consistent growth path, and we are continuously investing in technology, processes, and people to be future ready to meet the ever-growing aspirations of Bharat. The number of lives we transformed is evidence of our commitment to the sustainable development of India.
We truly believe that for India to progress, the Bharat of India has to progress. Being a company which is 90% Bharat, we strongly believe in the story, and we will continue to invest in Bharat in the coming years.
A small dream is all it takes to make a big impact on individuals, families, and communities. Let's join forces to bring many more millions of dreams to life, and let's build Bharat.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Let's put our hands together. Well, indeed, if we look at the numbers, we have lakhs of followers, we have lakhs of borrowers, and of course, we keep on making the smiles on loads and loads of faces. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about winners, when we talk about achievements and success, I get reminded of one of the quote, which says that we were born to win. We were all born to win. But to be a true winner, we must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. And of course, as now it's the time to call out one of the very dynamic leader who have a very, very particular vast vision, I would like to ask you all a question. Has anyone watched this series on Netflix called Suits? Anyone have watched this series called Suits? Please raise your hands up. Anyone? Okay, we have got a couple of people, right. So the main protagonist in that series named Harvey says this dialogue that the life is here, but I like it here. Well, the same way, the energy in this room is here, but I like it here. So can we all, for the last time, put our hands together and show how proud we are being the part of Spandana Sphoorty team. Come on, everyone. Please be cheerful, be louder. We are the Desi people and we are born to be loud. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to focus on work. I'm calling on stage a leader. Well, who's a leader? A leader is someone who knows the way, who goes the way, and who shows the way. Without a further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome Mr. Shalabh Saxena, CEO and MD of Spandana Sphoorty. A very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, on that note, the stage mic audience is all yours.
Sure.
Over to you.
Working? Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening to all of you. Namaskar. Thank you for coming on a Monday. हफ्ते की शुरुआत हमने आप लोगों को शाम को बुला लिया यहाँ पर. So nice of you to see old friends, people who've been supporters of Spandana, the institution, the business, and most importantly, the way all of you supported over the past 6 quarters. A big thank you to all of you. Thank you very much on behalf of the team. And to my team Spandana who have joined live, 12,500 people, 12,500 लोग जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं वेबकास्ट से, आप सभी लोगों को बहुत बहुत थैंक यू, बहुत बहुत नमस्कार. आप लोग हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं. आपका हफ्ते का दिन, हफ्ते की शुरुआत आपने जो 2-3 घंटे हमारे साथ देंगे, मुझे पता है बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है, लेकिन आप सभी लोगों को भी a warm welcome to all of you. So friends, point अगर आप देखें हमारी जर्नी, एंड आई हैव अ वेरी शॉर्ट प्रेजेंटेशन, 20 मिनट लगेंगे मुझे आप लोगों को एक थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड देने को. कई बार हमको लगता है कि काफ़ी टाइम से हम हैं, All said and done, we've been around for 6 quarters now. The Spandana 2.0, the new management, has been around for 6 quarters. We've tried doing our best to ensure that an institution, we are able to take the institution to the next level. ये जो business है, ये business में बहुत दम है. Inherently, this business is a very, very strong business. So forget Spandana for a second. This industry, which is today almost a 4 lakh crore industry, इस business को अगर सही लोग, which is the people, this is a people-driven business. अगर उन्होंने आपके पास अगर if you have the right manpower, the right set of people, be rest assured, ये business हर जगह चलेगा. People inconsequential. So that is the journey that we got onto about 6 quarters back. थोड़ा सा background दे दूं मैं, जहां पर जो हमें देख रहे हैं, देश के 1520 branches, 1520 branches में 12,500 employees, and obviously the fantastic audience here. थोड़ा सा background देना बहुत जरूरी है, because there is a context. आप लोग, कुछ लोग हमारे साथ जर्नी में बीच में जुड़े, कुछ लोग शुरू से हैं, strong supporters, and I met a few of them. I'll meet, the entire management team will meet, after the show is over. But broadly, एक question आता था, तो question ये आता था कि आपकी टीम, आप ले तो आए, बन तो गई है, तो हैं कौन वो, क्या करते हैं वो, and how is it that you run the business? I mean, this was the broad background, and then we thought, what better place than Bombay to do it. We wanted to do it slightly earlier, but anyway, logistics, some challenges, but anyway, we are here. What were the 5 points? 5 broad areas when we took over 6 quarters back. सबसे पहले, these are the 5 points. So when we drew the agenda, जब हमने हमारा agenda लिखा, क्या करना चाहिए हमें एज अ कंपनी, कंपनी में हमने सोचा सबसे पहले, और क्योंकि ये बिजनेस, ये पीपल ड्रिवन एग्जीक्यूशन बिजनेस है, आपको अगर एग्जीक्यूशन पे पकड़ है, इफ यू हैव गुड कंट्रोल ओवर एग्जीक्यूशन, एनी बिजनेस कैन टर्न अराउंड एनी टाइम यू वांट. ऑब्वियसली द जेस्टेशन विल बी देयर, यू विल गेट दैट टाइम, बट फोकस ऑन द राइट थिंग्स, डू द राइट थिंग्स, and you will get there. एक क्वार्टर आगे होगा, एक क्वार्टर पीछे होगा, उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, बट एग्जीक्यूशन बिजनेस and how to do the execution through people obviously is very, very critical. This is a microfinance business, is a extremely process driven business. इसमें when I say, and I mean it in all the nice way, इसमें ज्यादा at a point in time, beyond a point in time, ज़्यादा दिमाग नहीं लड़ाना होता. This is with a blinkers on. You have to tell your people you run. So whatever you want to think, whatever you want to do from a strategy point of view, whatever you want to do from a execution point of view, do it beforehand. और एक बार आपने जब 12,500 लोग जो फील्ड पे हैं, 98-99% लोग ब्रांच में होते हैं, हमारे हेड ऑफिस में गिन के 300-350 लोग हैं, 12,500 में से बाकी सारे लोग फील्ड में हैं. हाईली एम्पावर्ड सेट ऑफ पीपल, यू हैव टू गिव देम दैट एम्पावरमेंट. अगर हेड ऑफिस में कुछ भी डिसीजन मेकिंग आया तो द होल थिंग गोज फॉर अ टॉस. सो ड्रॉप योर स्ट्रैटेजी, मेक पीपल रन, यू विल गेट द रिजल्ट्स. एक और लर्निंग है, एंड द रीजन व्हाई आई एम शेयरिंग इट विद यू इज दिस द फर्स्ट टाइम वी आर actually getting everybody here on stage. We met you in private, but good to have all of you here, and we are kind of conversing. One of the things that we've learned over the years handling microfinance businesses, be it a customer or your employee, the inherent integrity is very, very strong. नियत में कभी क्वेश्चन मार्क नहीं होता, इंटेंट में कभी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा, कैपेबिलिटी में कभी उसके पास अगर दिक्कत हुई तो शी विल कम एंड टेल यू कि आज मेरे पास नहीं है. दैट इज द टाइम व्हेन यू हैव टू पेस योर एक्टिविटीज एंड योर इनिंग्स. बट अदरवाइज, बी इट योर एम्प्लॉय और बी इट अ कस्टमर, आपको यू हैव टू ट्रस्ट देम, यू हैव टू एम्पावर देम, You have to do all the right things and most importantly communicate. आप बातें करते रहिए उनसे. 27 लाख कस्टमर्स हैं हमारे, 27 लाख कस्टमर्स, 12,500 एम्प्लॉई, जिनको सुबह शाम आपको बात करते रहना होता है अक्रॉस द हायरार्की. उनको लगना चाहिए कि हमारे पीछे ऊपर कोई बैठा है हमें देखने वाला. जहां जिस दिन उसको दिल छू गया उसका, जिस दिन द डे ही इज कन्विंस्ड दैट देयर इज समबडी हु इज लुकिंग आफ्टर अस, bosses, be rest assured, that is the time when the company will turn around. That is the time when they will say that come what may, I will work for the company. I will ensure that the goal that has to be delivered from a company point of view is delivered. Same is the case with culture. What is it that drives them? और ये जो हमारा जो सिस्टम है, जो इकोसिस्टम है हमारे एम्प्लॉइज का हो चाहे वो हमारे कस्टमर्स का हो, इसमें मल्टीपल मैसेजिंग नहीं चलता. वन मैसेज एट अ टाइम. हमारा इंस्ट्रक्शन है, हमारे जो पूरे सुपरवाइजरी स्टाफ है, एक बार में एक ही काम करते हैं. दाल रोटी सिंपल, बुफे आपने ले कर दिया तो दैट इज द एंड ऑफ इट. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी savvy in terms of pacing your innings on what is the priority for you as an organization. आप मान के चलो कि एक बार में एक ही काम होगा, 3 काम दिए तो कुछ भी नहीं होगा. वो या तो लीफो काम करेगा या फीफो काम करेगा, 3 में भी कभी नहीं होने वाले. So these are the learnings that we've gathered over a period of time. This is what we started the journey with. We got a team together, and I'll come in a bit. Cultural thing, because this was a running organization with about 6,000 people about 6 quarters back. जो माइक्रो फाइनेंस ही कर रहे थे, 25 साल पुरानी कंपनी है, कल थोड़ी शुरू हुई है. तो उनको, and you will know, when you come from outside, obviously you have to first get down to the ground. उनके साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर अगर आप चले, उसमें भी 2 क्वार्टर 3 क्वार्टर लगते हैं, तब जाके उनको समझ में आता है कि हाँ, they mean well. This is not a foreign body which has been imported, and all of us get together to align and work towards the goal of the organization. Distribution. This is a pure distribution game. Microfinance 90% rural, with due respect, ये वो distribution है जहां पे इस देश के नोकिया और सैमसंग भी नहीं जाते. बड़ी से बड़ी FMCG कंपनी वहां तक पहुंचती है बहुत टाइम लगा के. वहां पर हमारा बंदा सुबह 6:30 बजे उठ के 7 बजे जाता है उस कस्टमर से मिलने. चाहे वो मेरठ की ठंड हो, चाहे वो धूप हो, चाहे वो आंधी हो, चाहे वो तूफान हो, उसको जिस टाइम पे जाना है वो जाएगा ही जाएगा. तो दिस इज द बैकग्राउंड, और उस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में you have to get your distribution right. So there were challenges when we took over in distribution, which we'll discuss in a bit, but broadly speaking there is still some work to be done. हमारा काम वो है कि jokingly when I say this, the challenge that we had when we came was, and every distribution needs it, nothing specific to this organization, we had to repair this car. We did not have the luxury of sending it into a workshop. चलती गाड़ी को रिपेयर करना था. गाड़ी भी चलती रहनी है. It has to deliver whatever it had to deliver, and yet you have to keep the mend work on. So this is what was the challenge. We are still not done yet. So one of the things I would request with great humility is that we are not done yet on most of the things that we are going to hear today. कुछ काम 60% हुआ है, कुछ 70 हुआ है, कुछ 30 हुआ है, कुछ 80 हुआ है. कुछ चीजें जो नॉन निगोशिएबल थी वो हमने 100% करी है. 6 क्वार्टर हुए हमें. एक 6 क्वार्टर और है जहां पे हमने विजन 25 निकाला था जो खत्म होगा. एंड व्हाट इज नेक्स्ट इज व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू काइंड ऑफ कवर इट. क्वालिटी ऑफ द पोर्टफोलियो, very very important. We worked on it. This was the challenge that we had when we took over. All of you are aware about the circumstances. Governance and control, extremely critical. And most importantly, the last one, which was stakeholder relationships. And stakeholder includes everybody, from lenders to the regulators to the,
friends like you, everybody. So these were the challenges that we had when we took over. इससे अलावा सबसे बड़ा काम था हमें टीम बनानी थी. हमारे बिजनेस में कोई रॉ मटेरियल नहीं है, हमारा रॉ मटेरियल है लोग. वो लोन ऑफिसर जिसको महीने की तनख्वाह 12,000 रुपए है, इंसेंटिव में 5, 6, 7 हजार मिलते हैं अगर वो नॉर्मल आदमी हो, 17-18 हजार रुपए में 5,000 में वो घर चलाता है अपना, वो जहां पे भी ठहरता है. घर पर उसके पास 10 से 12 हजार रुपए होते हैं घर भेजने को. ये है बैकग्राउंड. ऐसे हैं 12,500 लोग हमारे. ये आपको बता इसलिए रहा हूं कि हम कोई करोड़ों रुपया, लाखों रुपए नहीं देते उनको. इस सिचुएशन में उनसे दिन रात काम लगाना will only come when they see sincerity in you as an institution, when they see sincerity in you as a leader, when they see that ये जो लोग हैं they mean good for the company. Nothing moves like an aligned goal. You converge on a goal, present it to them और बोलो चलो साथ चलते हैं. That is exactly what we did. So these were the challenges. Where are we on each of them? Very quickly. People from a manpower point of view, we are sorted. जब हमने जर्नी शुरू की थी उसके पहले 2 या 3 क्वार्टर में हमने सारे, and you will see, and that's the reason why you have so many chairs here. We thought we'll introduce you to the management team, and I'll do that in a bit. कल्चर एक ऐसी चीज है जो 4 क्वार्टर, 3 क्वार्टर, 6 क्वार्टर में नहीं होता है, तो टाइम लगता है. कल्चर तब होता है जब लास्ट आदमी कन्विंस हो जाए कि हाँ ये ठीक है. We are not there yet, but it is a WIP. और WIP चलता रहेगा अगले 2 क्वार्टर, 3 क्वार्टर, 4 क्वार्टर मैक्स. आई मस्ट एड हाउएवर, लेकिन कल्चर का जब था, जब हमने जर्नी शुरू की थी, हमें लगा था इसको टाइम लगेगा. वी गॉट सुपर सपोर्ट फ्रॉम ऑल आर पीपल ऑन द ग्राउंड. बहुत फैले हुए लोग हैं, मिलना बहुत मुश्किल है. आप नाम जानोगे नहीं, इतने सारे लोगों के कितने नाम जानोगे आप. लेकिन उन्होंने हमें बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट दिया. हमें जब हम उनसे मिलते थे और हमने बहुत ज्यादा कम्युनिकेशन किया. हम लोग प्रैक्टिकली रोड पे थे, उनसे मिलके सिर्फ ये कहते थे कि हमें एक मौका दे दो. जो प्रैक्टिकली ऑल ऑफ यू सिटिंग हियर, इफ यू रिमेंबर प्राइवेटली और इवन व्हेन वी इंटरैक्टेड, वी सेड आप यू गिव अस अ चांस, वेदर यू डू यू डोंट डू, इट इज इनकॉन्सिक्वेंशियल, बस जस्ट प्लीज हियर अस आउट. वही हमने हमारी टीम को भी बोला कि आप हमें एक चांस दो. ये कंपनी ने 8,000 करोड़ का एक मैक्सिमम AUM देखा है, आप हमें चांस दीजिए. दिस इज अ गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर द इंस्टीट्यूशन टू फ्लरिश. कल्चरली अभी भी बहुत सारा काम करना बाकी है, एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई यू हैव दैट शेड ऑफ एम्बर इन इट. डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बहुत काम बाकी है, एंड व्हेन आई से बहुत काम बाकी है मतलब हमने भी काफी उस काम की लिस्ट में ऐड कर दिया कि हम मंथली नहीं या वीकली करेंगे. So there's a whole list of things that we have done. Believe you me, whatever we have done is, or whatever we think is the right thing to do for the organization, is what we've planned and what we are executing. तो जब हम कहते हैं कि this is a high touch business, microfinance is a high touch business, you need to see the customer every week, you need to ensure that the financial health of the customer is, you are very close to her as a institution, and hence we want to move from a monthly to a weekly. It's a big one, and we are doing it. Temporary inconvenience, but for a better tomorrow. We took a call Q1 of last year. We will continue to do all of that, जिससे कि 2 या 3 क्वार्टर बाद हम कह सके कि भाई now we are done. So the ambers here on the screen become a green, and from a green onwards then we kind of just walk through. Portfolio quality, obviously it's a non-compromisable, non-negotiable thing. Governance and control, absolutely zero tolerance. And the last one, relationships, it's a WIP forever. My request to all of you is, you've been a great support all along. Please ensure kabhi galtiyan ho jati humse. It is never intentional. It could always be a slip. Please never doubt the intention. We are continuously working for the past 6 quarters to ensure that the relationships, wherever there were some ruptures, we've kind of made them up, or we are trying to make them up. Vision 2025. So when we started on the 11th of July, when we came out with our Q4 results, we presented to all of you, it's a public document on BSE, NSE and on our website. We said that, these are the things that we will do. ये सारी चीज करेंगे हम on various counts, be it people, be it technology, be it product, be it process, be it governance. So we had put out a list of things. So it's only fair that when I stand here and give you, what is next, it's important that we give you a very, very high level of where are we on the 25 that we had said. So broadly speaking, we said hum FY25 ke end tak, and I'll not read the entire because once you put up an Excel, you will kind of get a good hang of what it is. Exit 25, we will open 1,500 branches. As we speak, we have already crossed that number. We are at 1,520 as we speak. By end of December, we will be 1,590, and that's the end of it. So our branch opening saga ends here. And the reason why we did it was the first year was all about cleanup to the extent that was required from a balance sheet point of view. So we have done that. All the distribution initiatives was this year, which was year 2. Next year is all about how do you do the numbers. Because then next year there is no branch to open, no new recruitment to do, no new experimentation. And obviously there's a clearly very well articulated approach on which state we are opening, etc., etc. The 7 focus states, we've kind of put it out there. So we said exit 25, which is 6 quarters or slightly less than 6 quarters from now, हम लोग 40 लाख customer base पे पहुंचेंगे. As we speak, we are 2.7. We will end this year at about 3.1, which means we would have sourced about 11 lakhs or upwards of 11 lakh customers in this year, 1.1 million in this year. Next year, to meet the 4 million, even if we do almost the same, and I do a net off, we should be upwards of the 4 million. So we are there, we are good on that. Microfinance AUM, we said 15,000 करेंगे हम. Q2 का result आया था हमारा 9,784 था. Very happy to inform all of you. 27, 28, 28th of November को, we as an institution have crossed 10,000 crores. So that part also is done. So we are on track. We will end this year at 12,000 crores. Then we have 3,000 crores to hit the 15,000 crores for the next year. पूरे 4 quarter है. We are reasonably confident, we are there, or we'll get to that. The other things are already there, be it NIMs or cost, there's no change. We are there either, except for the ROE, where we are lagging a bit. I think, all the numbers, we are either ahead of the plan or we are on track. So that much I wanted to kind of just put it out and, kind of present it to you. जब हमने 25 का प्लान प्रेजेंट किया था, और एक्चुअली टाइम फ्लाइज, 6 क्वार्टर पहले इतना फास्ट भागा, हमें खुद ही रियलाइज नहीं हुआ कि 1.5 साल हो गया है. 1.5 साल अब और बचा है FY25 का, और काफी लोगों ने पूछा कि उसके आगे क्या होगा, what do you want to be, and there are various options which kind of get articulated. We want to say this with great emphasis that our belief in this business, which is the microfinance business and the 2 new businesses that we have started, is immense. We believe that the company can still, for the opportunity that the country offers, there's a lot that we can do. And hence, presenting to you, ladies and gentlemen, 28 by 28, which is by FY28, we will do a 28,000 crore AUM by FY28, which is approximately 20% CAGR growth, which, given the fact that the industry is slated to grow about 21-22%, I think, this is a decent number to target. It is not over the top. At the same time, it is not underballing yourself. As an institution, we feel that we are comfortable doing this number. We have our own core philosophies, which you will hear the team when they come here. Here you will see how we do business, how we think we should be doing this business. That's very important. And that's what it is. once again, I don't want to go line by line on the numbers, but broadly, this is in line with what we've been saying. It is an extrapolation, but we think that these are doable numbers where we'll be comfortable. We will ensure, and there are things that we need to do still, as I said, but these are the broad post, and we'll start working on it. We are still 6 quarters away, but I think another 2 quarters from now, we will actually, while we have a very detailed plan, but a granular plan at a ground level, we'll be able to share after 2 quarters. One of the things I've been speaking about is on the people and the culture. One of the things that binds all of us together is obviously, and every organization or most of the organizations have it, which is the mission and vision. This is what we just unveiled to our set of people, and our CPO, Chief People Officer, Mr. Prashant Rai, when he comes here, he'll kind of get into the details, but broadly, these are the missions and vision that we think, are the apt for us as an organization to progress. We'll work on this. We've already started cascading it to a set of people, and this is the direction that we will take over the next 4 years. What are the key focus areas? I'll just repeat myself. People and culture, we'll continue to work on them. Portfolio quality, and we have to build a lot on the efficiencies. बहुत काम करना है उसमें हमें, which we are already started working. We've started working, मगर अभी भी दिल्ली दूर है, काफी टाइम लगेगा उसमें. Governance and control does not change at all. We want to make this company a system and process driven company. People become incidental, and that is what we are kind of aiming to. Technology, top of the line. You will hear the team when you hear them. What are the challenges? My last slide. Challenges like when you run a business of this scale, obviously there are challenges which are controllable challenges, the challenges which are not in your control. A COVID was not in our control. A specific disruption in a state will never be in our control. What keeps us awake is the fact, the singular most, which I have been stressing all along, is people. We have been lucky to get the best talent in the industry. I say this with great degree of responsibility, both here and in the field. We have to hold on to them. We have to retain them. We have to ensure that we don't really lose them. That's the biggest challenge, 1 to 10. Other challenges we'll meet. Hoga kahin pe, you'll have some disruption here and there. We'll kind of manage all of that. This is something that all of us are aligned to ensure, we along with the board, and this keeps on. There's a very often discussion which keeps happening in the board, where the board members also ask, what is the biggest challenge? The biggest challenge is, अपने लोगों को आप कैसे संभाल के रखोगे? आपने अपने लोगों को संभाल लिया, तो आपका काम हो गया. So that is what it is. I'll end here. Thank you for patiently listening. Slightly over time, 5 minutes extra हो गया, but thank you for listening. My friends out there, हमारे साथी, धन्यवाद. Thank you very much for listening to me. 28 by 28 is what we are targeting. Thank you for your support. Thank you for patiently listening to me. Thank you very much. Now, what I'll do is, we'll have the management team walk in. So the way we've kind of structured is, instead of making individual presentations, in the next max 90 minutes, we will have all of them right now here, and we'll discuss what is the core principle of how do we do business. And business includes everything, which from people to how do you retain people, to what is the tech stack, to what are the risks in the business, how do we think. It will give you a very high level flavor. And after that, we'll have a question and answer session, post which then we'll disperse for regular dinner and cocktails. So thank you very much. I invite now Ashish Damani on the stage, please. Ashish is the CFO. Please give a big round of applause to Ashish. So sequentially speaking, Ashish. Amit Anand is the Chief Risk Officer. सारे इधर आ जाओ यार आगे. With Ashish. Amit. Dharamveer is our Chief Information Officer. Prashant Rai, ये alphabetical order है, आ जाओ भाई. हाँ जी, हाँ जी. He is our Chief People Officer. He just joined us. 7-8 महीने हो गए अब तो. Ramesh Periaswamy, the oldest in the group. Where is? There he is. The Chief Compliance Officer and Company Secretary. Sunand Sahu is our Chief Internal Auditor. Please give a big round of applause to Sunand. Vishal Sharma, the Chief Operating Officer. He heads the distribution. Vishal. Ajay Ganotra, the Chief Business Officer for North. He looks after the entire distribution of North. Deepak Verma, Chief Business Officer for South. Shilpa Jain, she heads the financial reporting. Sriraj Vetsan, he's the CBO for East. Subhrangshu Chakravarti, the financial controller. And Sushanta Tripathi, he heads the new business for us, which is both nano enterprise loans and loan against property. All of them have been our veterans of the industry. Just to start, Subhrangshu's last organization was ASA International. Ramesh Periaswamy has been around for quite some time. Ramesh's last organization was Embassy. Prashant Rai, CPO, his last organization was R1 Financials. Sushanta Tripathi's last organization was Bharat Financial. Deepak Verma, Bharat Financial. Shilpa Jain, Bharat Financial. Vishal Sharma, Bharat Financial. I'll just jumble up the order. So Ashish, obviously, Bharat Financial. Amit Anand comes from Shinhan Bank, and prior to that, he was with Bank of India. Ajay Ganotra was the head of Bharat Financial for the northern region. He joins us. Sunan joins us from Vistar. Dharamveer's last organization was, he was with Hero, FinCorp and Home First. I introduced you, no? Sriraj comes from Bharat Financial. So here is the whole team. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the patience, for patiently hearing out. I would request you to take seats. I'll request Ashish to moderate this session. We'll take you through how we do the business, and then obviously we'll break it up after that for questions and answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shalabh. Thanks for the prelude and setting up the context for the evening's discussion. To start with, thank you all of you for taking out time. We welcome you all for this discussion. Today's discussion, we would like to take you through our journey so far, which some of the aspects Shalabh has already, touched upon, but also give you insights in terms of how we are going to do business in the Vision 28 by 28. We have, segregated the discussion into 5 sections, themes or areas. For the sake of ease, I will actually put them in 5 P's for my benefit. So first one, distribution. I will call it as portfolio. Second is risk, which is protection in my mind. Third is, our partners through whom we have been raising liabilities. Fourth being, productivity. We would like to drive the productivity through the use of technology. And last being, the people's practice. The idea is to have the discussion on each of this and give you a flavor of what we've been doing and what is in store as we go along in next few years. So I'll jump straight away without further delay into the first P, or the distribution piece. We've been very vocal, as a management, that we like JLG, we like weekly, and we like to, have our growth driven by customer acquisition. Shalabh talked about that, we would like to hit 6.2 million borrowers by FY28. Now, this is a tall order. I know we are doubling our customer base in next 4 years, but, we have planned it really well, and we do have confidence that, we'll meet these numbers with ease. So to talk more about this, I would request our captain, Mr. Sharma, not Rohit Sharma, Mr. Vishal Sharma, to, take us through the next 4 years of, sorry, Vishal. Yeah.
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks. So, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in today. I'm Vishal Sharma, part of the business here at Spandana. You heard Shalabh talk about our Vision 25, the roadmap which was laid last year, July. and how we executing for the last 6 quarters. Lots of challenges, but that's the way microfinance business is. All I can say is that we are well poised as a business to deliver not just on the Vision 25 roadmap, but the roadmap beyond 25 to 28 as well. So what I'll do is, in this theme, I have my colleagues as well, and we'll talk about what are the core philosophies we have in distribution, and what do we believe in as a management team, and down to the 8 layers we have at the branch level. How do we communicate with them? What are the philosophies, and how do we manage the distribution? But before I get there, we'll start with a small video. This video is about how our loan officer or the branch manager, the branch staff essentially, which is the most critical piece in our business, how do they spend their time on a typical day, starting from sourcing a customer, wherein they do a village survey, how do they organize center meetings, and all the way to disbursements. Can we have the video, please?
Our distribution network spreads across 20 states, 15-20 branches, serving 2.7 million households. The entire customer journey is through standardized processes followed across the geographies. It starts with village survey by our staff, wherein the loan officer visits the village and communicate the product offerings from Spandana. Interested potential borrowers are then mobilized to form group, and compulsory group training is conducted to explain in detail about our product offering and processes involved. Upon completion of group training, the branch manager visits the household of each of the potential borrower and understands their living standard, and then conducts group recognition test. The confirmed group members visit the branch along with their spouses for further processing of loans. In the branch, they are again explained about the loan process, joint liability concept, and other terms and conditions pertaining to the loan. Post-disbursement, at a predefined frequency, all the members of the center meeting at a common place where activities such as collection of loan installment, further loan application, introduction or new product are carried out. These standardized processes ensure creating a quality portfolio.
Thank you. So I'll straight away move to so these are the topics we'll cover in the distribution theme, including me and my colleagues. But if we talk about our core philosophy, there are 4 top priorities which we have. The first one being customer acquisition-led growth strategy. This is what we had envisioned when our Vision 25 roadmap was chartered last July, which Shalabh talked about. This as customer acquisition-led growth is the fuel for growth for our business. Coming from the 7 identified states, the growth states which we call them, we acquired this year, first half, we acquired about 7 lakh customers, taking our customer count from about 23 lakhs in March to about 27 lakhs when we ended the last quarter. Very critical. It continues to be 50% of our business gets contributed by our new customer acquisition. The balance 50% is from our pre-approved, our existing customer base. So I believe that this will continue to give us the momentum and the growth for another 2 years, and directionally by about 26-27 financial year, we should be looking at about 35% odd contribution from new customer addition, and the balance will come from our existing base. The second core philosophy which we have is lend short. And when I say lend short, this is about microfinance business. The maximum tenor we give is 24 months in a monthly mode. as we transition from monthly to weekly, there we give about a maximum loan of about 75 weeks, which will further, and as we build that weekly business, the transition is underway. And as we build our business, automatically the tenors will continue to come down. The point here is that in microfinance business, what we strongly believe is that you lend short, you lend for a shorter tenor, don't lend for a longer tenor, but keep meeting the demands of the customer. So that's our philosophy. The third is muted ticket sizes. We lend a maximum of 80,000 rupees. So we're not in the ticket size, let me put it this way, not in the ticket size game. What we look at is, as I said on my earlier point, if a customer needs money, needs emergency fund, we should be there. And that's how we strongly believe. And one other point which kind of talks about the weekly, why we should have a weekly model, wherein we are at the top of the mind recall for our borrower. The loan officer is meeting the customer regularly. If the customer needs a top-up, we can always give a top-up kind of a loan, emergency kind of a loan at a shorter tenor. The fourth point is indebtedness. So when I talk about ticket sizes, we don't look at ticket sizes because we lend a maximum of 80,000 rupees. Indebtedness is the key. We are at about 36,000 on an average for our 27 lakh borrowers, which is probably 85-90% of where the industry is. So indebtedness is the key rather than the ticket sizes. Moving on, the scale up, productivity and efficiency. We opened about 573 branches this year, of which we have today now about 400 branches which are weekly mode. So about 33% of our business is weekly. We are, as Shalabh also mentioned, we are a rural focused business. 90% of our business is rural. We continue to build on that. We had identified, I talked about the 7 states. We continue to build on those 7 states, acquiring customers in absolute rural focus. The second important one is the JLG and the 5x5x5 metric. So, and I'll explain that in the next 30 seconds. As a team, we strongly believe in microfinance business, a joint liability group model is the only way forward to make sure your risks, your control is there, and the productivity and the efficiencies on the other side are also maintained. When I talk about a 5x5x5 metric, I'm talking about there are 5 members in a group, 5 groups in a center, and 5 centers typically a loan officer manages in a day. This is the North Star for us. We're not there. There are challenges on the ground. Our center sizes today are smaller, but that's what we have to take on from here, increase the center sizes, the group sizes, and make sure the caseload per loan officer increases. That's the efficiency bit which we need to work on. That's the distribution gap which we have today. But I'm pretty sure if you look at last year, first quarter, in fact, the Q1 of FY24, we were at about 317 caseload per loan officer, which is a very important efficiency metric. Today, after 2 quarters, we are at about a 343 kind of a number. We'll be ending this year at a target of about 360 to 365. The other is growth geographies. I've already talked about it. 7 states is what we had earmarked. Enough white spaces, predominantly more customer acquisition there. We already have opened our branches, which were the Vision 25 target, so that we have a clear runway for the next 12 months, for the next entire 5 quarters, starting January calendar year. The next 5 quarters, we just build on productivity and the efficiencies from here on. So that's on the productivity, scale up and efficiencies part. The other part is the standardizing of processes. I have my colleague Ajay, he is the CBO for North, who will talk about the standardizing of processes, which is another key component for our business.
Thanks, Vishal. Good evening, everyone. I would like to talk about on our ongoing effort towards process standardization. As my colleague talked about the core philosophy in the distribution, which we are driving ever since we have joined, are as follows. Strong belief in the JLG model. Number 2, muted ticket sizes, lend shorter tenure, and weekly repayment. Let me start with JLG. To reinforce borrower discipline and enhance efficiency, we are focusing on JLG. JLG is a strong culture of the microfinance, as you all aware of that. Due to COVID, few our lenders have started individual lending platform. Why? Because COVID has disturbed the entire business, and they were moving away from the JLG platform. We are, as an organization, strongly believer of the JLG. The elements of JLG, such as weekly center meetings, conducting center meeting on time, and as Vishal mentioned, 5x5x5 is the core of this JLG model. Presently, we operate with 2 sets of branches, monthly and weekly. Since January 2023, we have successfully opened 400 branches and all are on weekly schedule. Our plan is to move our existing branch into weekly by end of financial year 2025. We believe in input management. We are focusing on input management. Our belief is, if input management is done in a standardized manner, rest everything will be taken care of. Input management is an effective management sales tools. I will explain. Focus on center and group size, efficiency. Focus on meeting every day 80 to 100 customers, Monday to Friday. This is our core JLG. Our supervisory layers, branch manager and above, are actively monitoring center meetings to uphold quality and sustainable business. We conduct LUC after every loan disbursement, means loan utilization check, to ensure member utilize our loan amount for the correct purpose. A dedicated product and organizational excellence team consistently fine-tunes our processes for optimal results. With this, I would request Sushanta Tripathi to throw some light on our 2 new products other than microfinance. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ajay. Thank you very much. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Spandana 2.0. So, as we speak here, microfinance is our core business, and we are progressing a lot in achieving our Vision 2025 goal in microfinance. At the same time, we are diversifying our product portfolio and to meet the need of the aspirational India. Because this is again in line with our Vision 2025 that we have envisaged 6 quarters back, wherein we said we will be diversifying our portfolio. So in this direction, what we have done in last 6 months only, we have rolled out 2 new products from the scratch. One is loan against property, which is the secured loan, and the second one is the nano enterprise loan, which is the loan to the retailer, shopkeeper, and kirana stores. So these 2 new products are very different than the microfinance. And ये हमको मतलब day 1 से पता है कि microfinance is done in a different way, and these are the different set of customers, set of different segment and all together. That's why we have created dedicated branches for this kind of customer. Separate branches, separate manpower, the sales team, the credit team, and the operation team entirely segregated. And these 2 products are housed within our subsidiary Chris Financial Limited. So to talk a little more about this loan against property here, what we are trying to do, we are trying to give small tickets secure loan. We have just started. That's why the ticket size is 4 to 5 lakh average ticket size. And Generally, there are chances of migrating the microfinance customer to this loan against property, but that's not the design. That's not the construct. Accidentally, if some microfinance customer wishes to take a secured loan, that's okay. So the customer segment is different, people are different, and the branches are different. When you talk about nano enterprise loan, that's the retailer loan that we have launched, 50,000 to 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh in the semi-urban area. That is also giving good result. So these two products, what we have done, because we have started from the scratch, we have invested a lot of time and energy and resources in building the technology. Because we understood from the market that this is nothing new in the market. There are many players we are operating. What was missing, we understood that we should have a robust technology solution which gives end-to-end digital journey. We call it digital journey. Why? Because in a customer journey, there are three aspects. One is you source a customer, and that has to be physical only, because the staff has to meet the customer, make them understand the product, proposition, everything. And there is an onboarding process. That should be completely digital. Then only you will get a better customer experience. And the servicing part, that is also digital. So our processes are digital, and we'll continue to do that. So last 6 months has been very good experience, I would say. Initially हमको बहुत tough लग रहा था, because last 30 years, 3 decades we have been doing microfinance. Now suddenly moved to 2 different segment. तो इस challenges के साथ learning भी है, कहाँ पर खोलना है branch, कहाँ पर नहीं खोलना है, कौन सा state में जाना है. That all these things we have sorted. So 20 branches. By end of this financial year, we'll be having 50 branches. By end of next financial year, we'll be having 200 branches in these particular 2 businesses. And we are confident that with these two products put together will be taking to 3,000 to 3,500 crore by FY 2028. It's an ambitious plan. It's not that we are not planning in a very granular manner, because the market has been understood. Though we plan to grow organically, there are opportunities in the market where we will explore. If time comes, then we can go for inorganic growth also. That's also one of the factors. And again, because these are housed within CFL, there will be a kind of capital requirement in the course of time. That also we are prepared for. So distribution as such, microfinance and non-microfinance, we are very comfortably placed, and to take the journey from this level to 28,000 crore by FY 2028. During this period, last 6 quarters, what we have done, we have seen is there is a big amount of cultural shift that has happened. We have become more of a data-driven company. And to talk more about data and how we use the data in the business, I would like to invite Dharamveer to talk about that.
Thank you, Sushant. So I feel we have started practicing the data-driven culture at our organization level. So if we look at, data is becoming the new fuel to propel the growth of any organization. Every day as we are growing, the data is also growing day by day. How we are leveraging those data to take effective and strategic decisions to fuel our business growth is most important. We have more than 12,000 people getting more than 90 plus automated reports on a daily basis. Every second we process a loan in business hours. So if you look at the kind of data and the transaction processing we are happening every day, then it's a humongous. So how we are leveraging those data is very important for us. For those data driving, slicing and dicing, taking a strategic decision, taking the data view at different angles, we use Power BI, which is Microsoft product. On top of this, we have a data lake, which is essentially used for reporting. On top of this, we have every user persona based reporting. So each individual work group wise, we keep reporting each and every data. That makes their life easier on a day-to-day basis. We have a strong data in-house engineering team as well, which keeps doing data engineering and give us a best recommendation out of their analysis. Starting from branch selection till loan approval, loan onboarding and final disbursement, everywhere the data is involved. How we underwrite a loan is through a scorecard-based rule engine, which itself takes care of all set of parameters like FOIR norms, household income, applied loan amount, what is the eligible loan amount, everything taken care by rule engine we have. Next level for this is to automate this rule engine, which we'll talk about in subsequent slides. So with this, I would like to...
Thanks, Dharam. I think if I have to summarize this entire thought process in one phrase, it would be, in God we trust, for everything else there is data. So, and thanks to Shalabh, who's made this as our second nature at, Spandana. We talk data, we eat data and sleep data. I'll move to the next P, protection. See, we as an organization have been committed and guided also that our portfolio quality while we are growing this book will remain, the credit cost will remain under 2%. And this confidence stems from the robust risk framework that we have laid. We have put a lot of controls. We have thought about this business. Thankfully, we have a lot of experience within our team who has done this in the past. And basis that, this is how we will go about doing, the 28 by 28 vision. I will request our CRO, Amit, to throw some light on, what is that we are doing in the risk management from here on.
Thanks, Ashish. Namaskar and welcome. Good evening to everyone. At Spandana, our very model itself, our model of microfinance itself has a risk management built in it, because there are many models of microfinance, and our is GLG, which we kept hearing for some time. That is Joint Liability Group, and because it's an unsecured business, so GLG works as a protection, as a social protection, where the chances of a default becomes lower. So that is one risk management tool that is built in the system, in the model itself. Now, since GLG is at the soul of what we function into, so monitoring how the GLG is functioning, the quality of GLG is a core risk management function, because it can give us an early warning signal to us to act upon. So there is an AV which we will play, and here we show how our loan officer goes to the center and sees, do the center meeting with the group. And by monitoring all these activities through geotagging and dedicated mobile applications, we track the timing and quality of our duration of the meeting, which gives us insight whether there is any issue or any early warning signal on the group functioning. So there is one small AV on that. So actually, our CEO Shalabh says that microfinance is not an asset management activity, but a risk management activity. And in true sense, we are following that. And since we started 6 quarters back, we started putting up a robust governance and risk compliance framework. And we are into process of making it, enforcing it with major enterprise-wide risk management frameworks. But these are the four major areas that we are covering in the risk management team. So first one is on the risk diversification piece. Here, as a business, credit risk is very lower in the entire BFSI segment. Can we move ahead? We all know that in microfinance, the credit risk is actually one of the lowest in the entire banking and financial sector. So what are the risks actually in present for us are mainly the concentration risks, which we address with a simple principle that we keep on hearing as don't put all your eggs in one basket. So this is that, and we follow it mainly through the geographical diversification as well as the product diversification strategies that we have. And you can see that when we started 6 quarters back, our concentration is top 3 states were somewhere around 48%, which went down to 44% till last quarter, and we are planning to bring it down to around 36% by the exit of 25. Similarly, on the product diversification space, we are now diversifying our products, as Sushant has said earlier, to LAP and nano enterprise loan products. So this we are trying to diversify to another 10 to 15% of our book by FY28. And this gives us an opportunity to do a diversification of our customer segment also. So these are two major areas, and then as Vishal also said earlier, that our exposure sizing is another risk management practice that we follow, and as we have an optimum exposure sizing, which is very low compared to the peers. In fact, we max it at around 80,000, which is around 35 to 40% lower than some of our peers. And then the tenor is also on a lower spectrum, which keeps us tracking and evaluating the customers. And then as the confidence grows, we take more exposure on them. So these are the major risk initiatives. And then as Dharmveer said, that technology and data analytics is the major tool that we take for risk decisioning. To give more color on this, I'll request Deepak to just.
Thank you, Amit. Good evening, all. Risk as such in microfinance, I mean, mostly everybody is aware of the way microfinance operations happens. For us, the core of managing risk is the JLG model. That's why there are other organizations who are kind of branching out, towards individual exposures within that microfinance frame. But we believe it's a lifeline, it's the first line of defense for us. आप नींव को हिला के इमारत तो खड़ी नहीं कर सकते हो. And as far as we are concerned, we are building a skyscraper here. So JLG being the core of risk, but there are a lot of ways to actually strengthen that JLG model. One of them is where do you open the branch? Is the location good enough? Or is the client base or the exposure that we're looking at, is that good enough for us to expand there? So our risk, the risk in Spandana starts even before we, open the branch. We, of course, while opening the branch, we have our own strategy note, which locations we want to enter, but which districts, which village, which pin codes we want to enter into. We have our ear on the ground, because that's the best way to get the knowledge, considering it's an extremely diverse market across India. However, we make sure that once we have this field knowledge of which pin codes are lucrative enough for us to open up, Then we have our own risk frame, a risk scoring matrix through which we take, the portfolio there, the type it is behaving, the average indebtedness of a client, how many lenders are present there, because all these aspects can actually, affect the risk criteria in that particular geography. Once this is done, then only we even think about opening a branch. In fact, Ajay in the beginning was mentioning about, we have opened 400 branches. All 400 branches in this last 6 quarters or any of the larger branch being split, each one of them has gone through this model. So we are sure that when we are opening a branch, even before we are opening a branch, we know what we will do there and how it will behave, at least without, having some unforeseen events taking place. So we start with opening a branch, then we come to how do you approve a loan? I mean, of course, you know now which clients you want to go to, but what exposure do you give it? Microfinance generally has worked over, more from an experience-based lending approval. We, in the last 6 quarters itself, have moved more to a rule-based engine. So we have data which kind of throws out which type of clients and which kind of exposure we want to get into. However, going forward with the vision of 28, we really want to move to and we are in the process of moving to a more scorecard-based lending, so that we have much more controls on which type of clients we are going to, source and which kind of product we want to penetrate the market with. Then comes, while portfolio stress is not a problem as of now for us. I mean, numbers are showing that every quarter. However, when you're looking at 5 or 6 years kind of horizon, you also need to have, plans for any eventuality which comes. And this industry is a bit dynamic. We've seen that in the last 4 years. There are multiple facets which can actually impact. Hence, already we have got into a process of doing a data-based collection approach while we have our own teams. However, which clients to go into, when did they last pay, which other companies they are paying to. So there are various data cuts which are already being used to ensure that our resources are, directed well and they get optimum results out of it. But what we are keen on is to move into a propensity model kind of initiative, a model tool to actually, augment our collection strategy. We want to we want to really understand before, the client goes into stress or a center meeting goes into stress. We want to understand the various parameters of a JLG, of attendance, or the average indebtedness, the size, how many loans are already there. All these, the model will actually throw out, and we'll have an early warning signal even before we get into a stress, so that we have this option of going to the client and actually containing the problem even before it might pop up. So, So the risk in Spandana 2.0 starts before the branch, and we already are envisaging something which might, while it has not happened, which might happen maybe sometime in the future, which cannot be predicted. However, all this to happen, data is good to have, but what do you do with the data? So there has to be a clear monitoring system along with that data to actually make it a bit fruitful. And now to talk on that monitoring pattern, I would request Sriraj to actually throw some light on it.
Thank you, Deepak.
Sorry, Sriraj, before you start, if we can just try to, concise our points in the interest of time. Yeah.
Done. Yeah, thank you. So, good evening all. When we talk about risks, so it is very important to understand which are the main risks which our field operation is, trying to mitigate, so that we are adopting the best practices in the industry. The first and biggest risk which microfinance faces is the risk of loan misutilization. Let me explain this a little bit. So, loan misutilization is what happens when the member utilizes the money which he has taken not for income generation, but for personal consumption, right? We are all clear about it that microfinance loans are not personal loans. She is supposed to buy an asset with that money, and she is supposed to use it for income generating purposes. It could be cattle, it could be stock, it could be a machine for sewing or embroidery or whatever. So to avoid this, we have a system of LUC, which is loan utilization checks. What we are in the process of mandating is that for every new member, for the first cycle loan, we are mandating that after a certain defined period, say 10 days to 45 days, the person who has given the loan has to go and actually physically check the asset, right? And to do a double check, we have mandated the supervisors to do random checking. So this is called loan utilization check. This is one way in which we are checking that the loans are not misutilized, because this could lead to indebtedness. The second thing which kind of COVID brought to the forefront is the fact that these members are not very easily locatable. So when COVID-19 happened and social distancing norms kicked in, we found that finding out the houses of these members in low-income areas, semi-urban, rural areas is very difficult, because the person who is actually given the loan is a transferable employee. His job involves job rotation. So fortunately, in the age of technology and 5G, we have got a very neat workaround. We do the geo-tagging. At the time of giving the loan, the borrower's house is geotagged. The centers are also geotagged, so that we are within the geofence of 25 kilometers, which is our serviceable range. And we have an app on the LO's mobile, the loan officer's mobile, by which we are able to track whether the center meetings are happening on time and for the correct duration. So this kind of closes the loop. We are in complete control of the geographical aspects of our business. The third thing which we are kind of monitoring is that the center meetings are happening on time. Now the center meetings are the cornerstone of JLG. It is a very templated affair with protocol involved, in which the way, like even if I am sitting in the meeting, I will have to, address the member in a certain way. We greet the people. We sit on the ground only. You are not allowed to take calls. So we do it in a very templated, ceremonial kind of manner, and to check whether this is happening in the correct manner, again, it is mandated for the supervisor to have random checks. Everybody who goes to the branch does a random check whether the center meetings are happening in the correct manner. This is done to drive attendance, which currently is at around 80%, which is quite on the better end of the industry standards. The last thing which I would like to mention is that we also have a document checklist. So if anybody visits the branch, even if I would visit the branch, I would ask for the attendance register, the complaints register, the cash deposit slips and stuff like that. So we have a completely templated list so that the branches are at audit ready at any point of time. To talk further about audit, I would like to hand it over to Sunand.
Thanks, Sriraj. Good evening, everyone. I would like to add one more point what Sriraj said on the geotagging of the centers and the borrowers. It is more helpful for us when we visit the borrowers, and this will help us going on our own rather than going on relying on a loan officer. Now, on the microfinance industry, since it is important on the processes and controls, it has been a culture of Spandana that the processes and controls are adhered to. However, in the last 6 quarters, what we have done is we have strengthened the processes and controls at the field level. And how do we do this? To ensure this, we have 170 specialized team at the field level who visit branches on a quarterly basis to check these processes and controls, whether these processes and controls are working efficiently or not. The key issues that we identify, that is again discussed with the respective stakeholders at the field level as well as at the head office level, to address these key issues and mitigate the control gaps. Multi-layer of supervisory monitoring is also done at the field level. Whatever is identified at the field level is discussed with the respective stakeholders, and then the mitigation steps are taken on a time-bound manner. Now, Shalabh sir has spoke about this Spandana 28 by 28. It would be a challenge for us with the spectrum of growth that we are going by 28. The only way how we are going to overcome this challenge is on the digitization part. Apart from the digitization part, a little while ago, Dharam spoke about the data cuts that is being sent on a daily basis. So these data analysis is also being done at the head office level with an offline and online audit that we do. This also represents that the branch staff who visits at the branches, it is not only once in a quarter, but all multiple times on a special assignments also. Now this digitization would be a game changer for us, because we would be highlighting the issues on a real-time basis rather than on a mandatory times. This will help us also the stakeholders to address the key issues as well as the control gaps which is there to fix it on a time-bound manner. Now, whatever the controls that we implement, whatever the processes that we implement at the field level, Now, this should be in line with the regulatory compliances because we are governed by the regulators. So whatever the compliances, control gaps, mitigation steps that we take, it is aligned with the regulatory compliances. To talk more about the regulatory compliances, I would request Ramesh to take it over from on the regulatory compliances.
Thank you, Sunand. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Spandana 2.0 meet. So, as my colleagues have already spoken about various risk monitoring and risk mitigation measures, so regulatory compliance being in financial sector, which is a fundamental thing, which we are strictly adhering to it. So over last 6 quarters, we have done various measures and steps towards the regulatory compliance requirements and also the good governance measures, wherein in the interest of time, I'll just narrate a few important things what we have done. So we have added a more team in the process and organizational excellence and business legal, corporate legal and compliance team, and also customer grievance redressal management team, wherein which improvised our overall compliance requirements with a timely manner. So process and excellence team, they ensure that all the documents, manuals, policies, all put in place and well documented and always being tracked. Then business legal and corporate legal ensures litigation management and contract management and also the recoveries. And compliance team ensures the tracking of all the compliances across the company, and also supporting the business in terms of documentations and also coordinating with the regulatory authorities as well as the external stakeholders. Apart from that, based on our past experience and as a good governance measure, so we have put in place a delegation of authority matrix and along with the various frameworks, so which clearly articulates independent individuals' roles, responsibility, and the authority, wherein any decisions within the organizations, it flows through the cross-functional team. In case of any certain beyond a certain value, it goes through the management level committees to the board level committees, which ensures in any individual decision making which may impact operations of the company, that will restrict and also mitigate the risk.
Thanks, Ramesh. I think one of the key things to be mentioned is at Spandana now, for last 6 quarters, we've been filing all our regulatory reports on time, and kudos to this team and the guys sitting here. We've been correcting the perception which was carried in the past. Now that we have covered the operational risk, we have looked at our liking for JLG, smaller tenor loans. हम चाहते हैं कि हम diversified रहे. There is one more risk, or I think I would say more of a challenge for any NBFC or for that matter any financial services, is raising the capital required borrowings to meet the growth plans. Spandana has had a bit of legacy issues, and there were a lot of challenges when we have joined. If you look at our journey, can you move the slide, Sagar? Yeah, if you look at the journey, we have taken on the fundraising side. It actually started in August of 22 when we have announced the first quarter results. We did a lot of cleanup during that quarter, and that's when the real exercise started. That's when we started getting positively engaged with our lending partners. If you see, we have been able to raise close to about 5,800 crores in last financial year over the 3 quarters. It was the time when we have instilled a lot of confidence into our partners. What also happened is not just raising funds, but we've raised it across the types of institutions. We have borrowed money from public sector banks, we've borrowed money from private sector banks. We always had a lot of capital market borrowings. We could borrow from SFBs, large NBFCs. We have also done some different kinds of transactions ranging from term loans to DA to ECB to bonds and all of this. Having said all this, we know there is a path. We know that there is a lot of improvement that needs to be done in this particular aspect of business when we compare to our peers. And to talk more about that, how we are going to do this, what is in store, I will request my colleague Shubhranshu to take us into the section.
Sure, Ashish. Good evening, everybody. So, when we took over in March 2022, the lender confidence in the market was not that high, and as we started interacting with you, as we started engaging with you, we could feel that. At the same time, we could also sense that, you had the confidence on the franchise. So we were fully confident. It's only a matter of time that we will rebuild that confidence. And thanks to all of you that you believed in us, you trusted us, and you supported us all along. So as Ashish has already pointed out, with your support only, we could raise around 5,800 crore in the financial year FY23. And as we speak today, we have already surpassed that amount. So we are at 6,100 crore in FY24. So with your support only, we could grow our assets. With your support only, we had a comfortable liquidity of around 1,500 crore across all these quarters. So big thanks to all of you again. Let me now give you some flavor on the plans and the progress we have made so far. So we follow a diversified funding mix. And our diversification consists of borrowing from banks, NBFCs, capital market, and also foreign borrowing like ECB, FPI, etc. So as on September, that is Q2 FY24, our borrowing from banks was around 49%. And this by banks I mean to say it is both public sector bank as well as private sector bank. And the balance was a combination of NBFC borrowing as well as capital market and a small amount of ECB. Now, what is our focus? Our focus is to increase the bank borrowing. Our focus is to increase the bank borrowing to around 60 to 70% in the next 6 to 8 quarters. And the balance we would be borrowing from NBFCs. We would like to cut down our borrowings from NBFCs and keep it to sub 10%. Our borrowing from capital markets should be sub 15%, and the balance is what we are going to get from foreign sources like ECB, FPI, etc. With this kind of borrowing, as on September, our gearing was 2.3x, and we are comfortable with a gearing of sub 4x in the next 6 to 8 quarters. So we have a good amount of runway to cover. I would also like to cover one more point. We have actually chosen to align ourselves with the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs as we call, as laid down by United Nations. In line with that, we have framed an internal policy and framework. We would also like to add a social bond to our kitty as we move forward. Along with our focus on increasing our bank borrowing, we would also like to, and another focus area is to reduce our cost of borrowings. On this, Shilpa, would you like to cover this?
Thanks, Shubhranshu, for laying down the plan for diversification in borrowing mix. This definitely paved the way for reduction in cost of borrowing for us. Reducing the cost of borrowing is one of the key focus area under this management team. Our marginal cost of borrowing when this management team took over was 14%, and gradually we were able to brought it down to 13%, 12.7, 12.6 during quarter of FY23, and is further reduced to 12.3 at the end of last 2 quarters. It took us almost 6 quarters with lots of effort, focus, and continuous engagement with our lending partners and support with all stakeholders. We were able to bring down the cost of borrowing. And as a part of Vision 25, which was unveiled by this management team during July of last financial year, we continue to deliver the numbers what we have promised with the support from all stakeholders.
Shilpa, would you mind us taking us through what are the plans? How are we likely to, get to sub 11? What are the initiatives?
One more point about cost of borrowing. We know our cost of borrowing is higher as compared to peers, primarily due to the CDR and the management transition of our company, as Ashish mentioned. But we are confident that we'll be able to bring it down. There are few focus areas which will help us in reducing the cost of borrowing would be diversification. We have already reduced the reliance on the capital market from the peak of 42% to 28% at the end of previous quarter. Another key focus area would be direct assignment. Direct assignment, as we know, is one of the low cost funding resource for us. Traditionally, MFI has been the key lending source for the banks to meet their PSL requirement. We expect the same to continue, and we are comfortable up to 10 to 15% of book as a DA. Now we'll move to the debt management. As a part of debt management, would like to achieve desired level in terms of leverage and the capital adequacy. Our leverage was 1.9x when this management team took over, and it touched the low of 1.3x in the September 22. With constant effort, we were able to improve it to 2.3x, and we are comfortable south of sub with the strong net worth and the capital adequacy. Currently, our capital adequacy stand at 36.6%, and we are comfortable anything above 25%. Based on our business projection, we should be around 25% at the exit of 28.
Yeah, so see, capital has never been a challenge for Spandana as such. And the thought process is that when we hit 25%, that's when we should, look for more capital, if at all. And when we do so, we'll look at, at least looking for growth capital for 2 to 3 years. That's how our thought process is. As of now, as you can see, we're very comfortable. Probably in coming years, we may have to, look at this as a possibility. While we have talked about a lot of initiatives that we are going to take to bring down the cost, the whole idea is normally, when you get financial gains, that's when you should, try to pass it back to the customer. But any productivity gains or, operational gains, that should be retained back for the shareholders. That's the large thought process. Not to say that, anything we do, we immediately turn around. But in essentiality, we will look at this as a theme, and to talk about more on how we are going to become more productive. And I've started by saying, one of the P for productivity, we will drive it by, the effective use of technology. And for this, I will like Dharam to, take us through. Dharam, I'm sorry I have to put you in this, but if you can try to concise in the interest of time. Sorry.
Sure, Ashish. Thanks, Ashish. So, we have come a long way in last 6 quarters. We have formed a strong tech team, and we are happy to announce that this tech team has delivered a number of features and workflows for different business functions. So if we look at, we are happy to announce that all our infrastructure is fully cloud. We have 0 application ecosystem which is hosted in-house. So that's the strength that we have. Let's look at how we are protected in terms of information security when we talk about cloud hosting and infrastructure-backed application ecosystem. First of all cloud services provider like OEMs, Microsoft, Google, or AWS, they give us a robust level of security in terms of network security, internet, port label, SSL certificates. On top of this, we have additional network security and firewalls, which keeps protecting our environment 24/7. On top of this, every application, whatever user groups are configured, they have a privileged access management which ensures within the application which user has what access rights to what extent of editability of a particular record in the application. What we do, store all PII data of customer and employees. We encrypt the entire database of PII using different algorithm, which SHA1, SHA256 or SHA AES 256. All these various algorithms are used at different application ecosystems to encrypt and mask our data of super confidentiality. On top of this, we have a security incident and event monitoring tool, which takes care of any threats that are coming out of our network and out of our ecosystem that we operate in. We have a multi-factor authentication which takes care of additional layer of security for super privileged accounts and additional layers, which gives you n number of various questionnaires whenever you change a device, whenever you change any security passwords or anything. Having said that, all our infrastructure is fully secure. We are very confident that we are prepared for any future disruptions, and we have preempted all future disruptions so that our business continuity remains intact. For continuing our business continuity, on top of doing all this security infrastructure setup, we have done a BCP planning as well, wherein all our production instances are fully secure by having a real-time closed replication of entire database and the application, which make this immutable database backup, which means no one can inject any external injection queries, no one can modify the data, no one can read the data, no one has access, even including the administrator privileges. That's the kind of preparedness we have done on infrastructure side. How we are governed in terms of application and infrastructure, I would invite Ramesh to throw some light on this.
Thank you, Dharamveer. So as I mentioned earlier, as a learning from the past experience, so we have, as a part of our various governance and compliance measures, so though we have enough IT and infra and security aspects, we also put in place IS and cyber security governance aspects and the structure. So wherein we have Chief Information Security Officer who reports to CRO, and he is a member of IT Steering Committee, which is the management level committee. Apart from that, we have IT Strategy Committee, which periodically reviews all our IT and IT infra projects. Apart from that, it also reviews InfoSec and cyber security measures in the organization what we have taken through. And apart from all this, we also have a vendor risk management frame assessment, and IT risk management assessment and VAPT test, which are all periodically taken care, and the same thing being monitored by the IT Strategy Committee and also the Risk Management Committee. In addition to this, we have an independent internal and IS information security audit, and in case of any gaps or deviations identified in the audit, it's being presented before the board level committees along with the time-bounded action plan. So this to ensure our IT and InfoSec and the cyber security measures are fully taken care, our database is fully taken care. So over to Sushanta to go through the process automation.
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh. And Dharamveer and Ramesh mentioned about key pointers related to the IT infrastructure, how we have strengthened the overall back-end part. But to have the scale up of the business, we need to take care of the front end also. So when I say front end, it's our branch staff and the customer. Customer, today's competitive world, customer, what they want. किसी भी गांव में जाके मैं अगर अभी पूछता हूं माइक्रो फाइनेंस बोरोवर को, तो उनके पास ऑप्शंस हैं. वो बोलेंगे कि मेरे को दो चीज चाहिए. पहला, आप कितना जल्दी मेरे को लोन दे पाओगे और कितना हैसल फ्री दे पाओगे, कितना ईज में दे पाओगे. So for that, with that two things in the mind, we have done a lot of innovation in terms of process automation. Earlier days, we were taking the loan application in the piece of paper. Our loan officer was writing everything on handwritten. Gone are the days. Last 6 quarters, we have spent a lot of time, energy, resources in automating our processes. We have introduced a mobility solution wherein the end-to-end customer journey is taken care. आज हमारे पास अबाउट 10,000 लोन ऑफिसर है, फील्ड स्टाफ हैं, जो कि मॉर्निंग 6:30 से वो अपना काम में स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं. वो मोबाइल डिवाइस में मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन लेके जाते हैं. वहां पर ही विलेज सर्वे हो, ग्रुप का ट्रेनिंग हो, कि group confirmation हो, center meeting हो कि any activity during the day, they do in the mobile application. No paperwork, nothing. He doesn't carry anything in the hand. So not only in microfinance, as I mentioned in my previous section, secured loan and nano enterprise loan also we have launched. There also, because we have launched recently, from the day one we ensured that some of the additional feature in the mobile application is fitted, so that the customer journey is end-to-end seamless and paperless digital journey. Here one of the important feature is when we have this OCR, optical character recognition, deployed in the mobile application. When you scan the KYC images, automatically data is pre-filled. And once data is filled, you don't have to do manually, and all the loan documents are generated pre-populated. That saves time and energy and everything. After the sanction of any loan, there is a host-to-host integration with the bank, so directly fund gets transferred to the customer account. It's fully digital, so that also saves time. And for doing all this process automation, we have partnership with the tech vendors, and they give us a API call, and that is seamless movement of the files happens. So end में क्या है ना, see, our as a company 6 quarters back we were not that much very process oriented kind of thing. Now what we wanted that key, let us do each and every activity, every product we launch. Product feature is one part, but what are the processes involved? That's the key. So for that reason, we have set up a 10-member dedicated team, which is called the Process Excellence Team. Day in and day out, they come up with the innovation and do multiple changes in the current setup process to get the desired result. But during the loan journey also, only by defining the process, it doesn't help. You have to have control measures at various point of time. And Vishal, I think Vishal will be explaining how we have various control in the process in the entire loan journey. Vishal.
Sure, Sushanta. So, tech as an enabler to the business carries a lot of value add in terms of enabling the entire business for us. But on the other side, tech as a control and risk mitigation as well plays a critical role. And I'll give you a very simple example. So each of our customer is geotagged today. Any disbursement which happens, the customer is necessarily geotagged. The customer's house is geotagged. We have the centers which are geotagged. We have our branches, we are geotagged. And there is an app which our loan officer carries. So once you have geotagged the borrower's house, you now know in case of any eventuality or the loan officer moving out, because there is a rotation process which we follow. Every loan officer has to change branch and centers, again as a risk mitigant. But the continuity of the borrower has to be there. So that's one example of the control. The second is simple things like we were earlier managing travel allowance for the LOs, loan officers, through a paper process. Through this app, today I know that how much, not just how much he's traveled, how much time has he spent at the center, but also I can reimburse his travel through this app. So there are multiple advantages of how we've used technology and how it is aiding in controlling and mitigating risk for us. The other thing which we're working on is the e-sign functionality. It's already live in our microfinance book. We're working on the same on the microfinance book. What it will do is that all the paper, the hard copies, it will do away with that. The entire documentation would be digitized. It will work as a single e-sign by the borrower and save a lot of non-value add which happens at the branch. So that's another example, which also eNash is another example on that. Already following it for non-microfinance business, but we'll be replicating it soon. The other is the eKYC. We have started work on it. The journey has already started. I think in a few quarters from now, our eKYC will be rolled out as in the near future. Taking that forward, the technology being used for analytics and our decisioning based lending, because we have a template based product lending process. Deepak would talk about that.
Thank you, Vishal. Technology for us, I mean, we've already discussed quite comprehensively how we are using it about creating already having a model in place and migrating to a scorecard-based model. And the new businesses already from the day one, we have ensured that we get into a self-aware, auto-learning kind of a scorecard model, which kind of updates itself in every 6 to 12 months. However, I just wanted to touch base only on the base which we take technology as. We want to be one of the most deeply penetrated microfinance institution as far as technology is concerned. However, the only reason why we want to be that is not for a bragging right that we'll be the most advanced in this. There are only two things which we look for when we are looking at any of these interventions. The first is our LO. We have about 8,500 LOs who travel from 6:30 in the morning till whatever time. And the second is the 27 lakh clients who we have and which is ever increasing. The only reason why we have these interventions at whatever places is that we can make life easy for these two people who are, the biggest elements in our business. Hence, we have different initiatives coming in, like an incentive app, which, incentive is a large part of this salary of a front-end employee. And to know and have a clarity and a transparency where I stand today and how much I can earn, that itself is a huge motivator for the team. Similarly, having a fast approval matrix. I mean, what best can you give to a client that it is painless and the client experience itself is so good that they want to come and join with us. Our core agenda for bringing in technology at any level is going to be these two people, the LO and the client. And how we are taking this forward further, I mean, what are new initiatives we are bringing in, I would request Dharam to actually ensure we do, if you can highlight some more.
Thanks, Deepak. So apart from practicing this data-driven culture, we have also started moving towards safe harbor forward-looking culture. So when I say forward-looking culture, we should be becoming a future-ready. So everything that we use has to be future-ready. As we know that in recent times, regulatory guidelines or regulators wanted to discourage the cash economy, and our majority of collection is cash. They wanted to promote a CBDC, which is a digital rupee, central bank digital currencies. So we have started doing a POC, how we can enable our collections in offline mode to an end customer who is not having a smartphone. So this is something which we are working on, and definitely we are on it. We'll keep you posted on this once we have some updates. On top of this, we wanted to make our entire KYC to be available on private blockchain, which is a new futuristic Web 3.0 guidelines. And definitely we are on it, and we have started exploring how we can seamlessly keep all KYC information for all regulatory and compliance purpose for review and audit. As we are growing, our endeavor is to go exponentially, but follow algorithmic graph in terms of support function costs. So this is where we are working on, and we wanted to have a fully integrated CRM, IVR, chatbot with AI ML features, which will pre-close all the tickets raised at service and help desk. On top of this, we have also planned for a futuristic fraud prevention algorithm, which will be part of data lake itself, which will be autonomous and self-learning, which will preempt all future business risks for loan delinquencies. We as an organization believe digital transformation is not a journey, it's a journey, it's not a destination. At our org level, we have a vision to have one Spandana, one application and one device per employee, which makes everyone efficient enough to work on a single device with a single console. How we are onboarding customer as on today, and how we are going to onboard a customer in future, in near terms, let's have a look at a video and try to understand
our pain points and what is proposed to ease out those pain points.
Can you play the video, please? Thank you. So, essentially what are we saying? We'll move paperless, we'll have a very secured environment, and lastly use, latest technologies to help productivity, make life easier for our loan officers, and bring customer delight. The experience with the customer should get better and better. They should be able to access loans much faster. Today we are spending 3 days to 5 days. It should go down to, like 10 minutes to 30 minutes at best. So that's what we are working towards. We are progressing towards. Yes, we know there are some peers who are already there, but we are also getting there as we speak. This brings us to, the last section. While this is the last, this is the most important. I will just roll back to the first earnings call which Shalabh did. We talked about our Vision 25. Can you move to the next slide, please? Next section. Where we've talked about, what are our priorities. And in fact, in Shalabh's commentary, he said, from 1 to 10, my priority is just people. So while this is the last, this is the most important one. We have taken a lot of initiatives and we continue to do so because this is the most important stakeholder in the business when you talk about financial services. To take us through this section, I would request Prashant Rai, our CPO, to take it from here. Thanks.
Thanks, Ashish, and good evening to all of you, and welcome to this session. It's great to have you all here today. If I have to talk about people, I would say that in a microfinance, people are the biggest asset. The second important aspect, which I also would like to tell you, is that, we are in a business where, we are in a very high-touch business, right? We have a lot of people who are spread out across the country as different places, and the kind of competencies that they have are not up to the mark. So in that case, it becomes very important that we also need to have significant amount of supervisory layers on top of them to take care of them when it comes to doing the right kind of business. In that regard, when we came 6 quarters back and took up this new assignment with Spandana, we clearly had 3 key important aspects that we wanted to work upon when it comes to people management or people agenda. The one important aspect that we wanted to really look upon was to see that how can we bring in a stable management team in the organization. And in doing so, the important focus that we had was to see that, we had the best people from the industry who could come and join us. And today I'm happy to inform you all that the 13 that you're seeing out here, all sitting and talking to you, are all veterans from the microfinance sector. They have been working in this sector for a very long period of time. And to say in a very few words is to say that we know this business well. The second important aspect was, as we bring these people from different sectors, obviously they had different ways of doing business in their own respective organizations. So when we came here to Spandana, it was very important for us to also set the right kind of a vision, the right kind of a mission and the values in which we would ensure that as we move ahead, the Spandana 2.0, we would have that all inculcated and crafted in a way that we all align to it. So that was the second important aspect which we did, that we created the vision, the mission, and the core values for the organization. The third important aspect was also to see, and I think Salabh also talked about it in his opening speech, was that we came into a running organization. It was not an organization which we started off, rather it was a running organization. So it was very important for us that, there is a cultural alignment which was important to manage that, to create the right kind of synergy for the people who are there in the organization, who are already there, and they do not feel left out or insecure when we came into the organization. So this is some activities that we did, which really worked on. Having said that, we have covered some distance, but I think the journey is still ahead and there's a lot that we need to do. The most important thing that we need to talk about when you're talking about, the vision 20 by 28 is the fact that the kind of scale that we are going to grow, obviously we have to make sure that we attract talent from the industry. The other important thing is also how do we retain talent in the organization and to make sure that they stick around and they grow with the organization. And third is the kind of changes that are happening in the ecosystem in terms of the governance structures. We have to make sure that, we have the right kind of structured governance structures in the organization that we could make ourselves future ready for the future. In that respect, the most important aspect is about, attracting talent into the organization. In that regard, I think the business are the ones who are really doing that activity. So it would be great, if I could ask Siraj, if you could talk a little bit about, what are some of the challenges when it comes to attracting talent and how are you dealing with that?
Thank you, Prashant. So what do we mean when we say that people are the most important thing in our business? See, one thing which we are very clear about is that every decision which we sitting on the dais here take, so there is one overriding concern: how does it make the life of the person on the field easier? We are all amazed and honored by the hard work and the dedication of our team, and it is our continuous effort to ensure that all our efforts are directed towards making their life easier. A little bit about the highlights of the journey of the last 6 quarters. So when Spandana 2.0 came about, there were around 6,000 odd loan officers working in 1,050 odd branches. Today we are sitting at 1,520 branches and 8,500 confirmed loan officers. So how did we manage this quite rapid rate of growth? See, the thing is, as Prashant just pointed out, we are all veterans in the industry and we had our own, top performing teams with us, and, we had these people come in and form the nucleus of the team, which kind of went on to attract the best talent from the markets. And today we are proud of the fact that we have some of the most talented people in the industry working for us. At the same time, we were very cognizant of the fact that the existing sales team should not feel left out or shortchanged. we made a salary parity grid so that, you know, we didn't have outliers coming in terms of salary. At the same time, the existing staff were given several welfare measures like, you know, internal job postings, and we had 5-year, 7-year, 10-year long service awards, and we take these things very seriously. There is a very templated kind of award ceremony which happens, and all of us are there to congratulate the people on these long service awards. We also give a lot of other referral bonuses and stuff like that, which are all constituting welfare measures. The salary grids have been stabilized. We ensure that our loan officer in the field gets a decent salary between 17 to 20,000 rupees, which is again on the upper end of the median as far as the industry benchmarks are concerned. Lastly, ये जो microfinance का business होता है, ये कंधे से मिलते हैं कंधे एंड कदमों से कदम मिलते हैं वाला बिजनेस है कि when you have 8,500 loan officers working in the field, there is no scope for individual initiative and individual way of looking at things. We have to ensure that the whole team is marching lockstep. To promote this culture, we believe in over communicating, in the sense that we have a system by which everybody in the company is able to communicate periodically with the top management. We have quarterly town halls in which the loan officer in the field can be accessed through the branch manager's device, and we ensure that, you know, everybody from the MD onwards is addressing the team. 5 times a month we have our chief operating officer address the team, and we have these Zoom calls with more than 2,000 branch managers and supervisors connected to the call, and we just ensure that, you know, the smallest decision is downloaded to the last person in the field. So again, to end, I would say that we are proud of the team which we have. We don't believe that these people work for us. We are proud of the fact that we work for them. Thank you. And I think to take this forward, I think Subhranshu sir will speak
sure.
about the retention.
Thanks, Sriraj. So, you see, our business scenario is changing, it's ever changing, and to keep pace with this changing business scenario, we must be relevant and contemporary to add more steam to the business trajectory of Spandana 2.0. And in that respect, our philosophy is employee first. It has been made clear by our Managing Director Shalabh. It has been made clear by our Chief People Officer Prashant that employees are our greatest assets. So we provide the best of the facilities, the best of the benefits in the industry, and as Sriraj has already pointed out, our salary compensation is best in the industry. You see, we appreciate the fact that this industry works in a residential model. That means our employees, most of our employees, majority of our employees are actually based out of, they reside in the branches. So we are appreciative of the fact, we feel that they should not be feeling that they're away from their home. So we ensure that they get the best of the facilities at the branches. So we provide them with, cooking facilities, with cooking gas, even a cook, etc., etc. So all of this is to ensure that, they are not feeling they're away from their home. We celebrate birthdays in the branches. We celebrate all the major festivals in the branches. On the benefits, you see, salary is, of course, we paid best in the industry, but also we make sure that there is some level of social security we can provide. So we have covered all our employees with medical insurance, and when I say all our employees, this means it actually includes all the employees who are even covered under ESI benefits. All our employees are having life coverage. So all of this is to make us the best in the industry. Talking about communication, as Sriraj was pointing out, our communication is not one way, it's a two-way communication. We love to hear back from the employees. We always, actually follow an open door policy in our office, across all including head office. So we love to hear back from them. Whatever our employees say is gospel for us. We are also conducting a dipstick survey. All of this is done to, help us improve if there is any scope for improvement, and to see that employees grow and, help the organizations grow. What we expect from our employees is that they are disciplined in their deliverables and they're compliant. with all the statutes which are governing us. On compliance, may I request Sunand to take this?
Yeah, thanks, Subhranshu. On the compliances part, Ramesh was speaking about the regulatory compliances and the governance on the IT structure. Now, on the governance of the people, this is one of the most and crucial part. We are compliant with all the regulatory compliances as of now. One of the major compliances, which is on the labor law, there is a transformation that is going on. We are keeping a watch on this from time to time. Whatever regulatory compliances changes come, we will be adhering it to. So this is on the compliances part. Now, Deepak was saying on the नींव मजबूत रखना है. हमारा नींव तो हमारी employee है. So across 1520 branches, 20 states, 10,000 employees across all pan-India level, hitting the field day in and day out. हमें उनको सुनना चाहिए. That is what Shalabh sir was also saying in the opening speech. So to do this, we have rolled out a internal portal Sahayata, where they can log into the portal and give their grievances, complaints, queries, whatever it is. जो भी उसके मुश्किलें हैं, जो भी उनके problems हैं, उनको हम solve करेंगे. So that is what the portal, how it works. Continuous trainings have been given at the field level on the compliances part. Continuous training has been given at the head office level also. The people who handle grievances at the head office level are trained to handle these grievances from the employees. Having said this, whatever grievances we get in the head office, it is being acted upon. However, we also ensure that the right person is not victimized. Now, in Spandana 2.0, integrity is one of our core values. I think Prashant will speak about it a little while now. In the contrary, on the disciplinary issues, if there is any wrongdoing by any of the employee, we have a disciplinary action plan in place. So we also give them a chance to hear as part of the principle of natural justice. We give them a chance to be heard from them, post which we have a corrective action on that. Now, on the people practices that Prashant was speaking a little while earlier, I would request Prashant to take it forward on the people practices on the inclusion and diversion of, which is our road forward.
Prashant, before you add, just one point to be added. Sunan talked about the Sahayata portal that we have. It's not just that people can just, put out their requests out there or requirements out there. Subsequently, it is also tracked by us in terms of in what tax we have, gone back to. In fact, if it is not done in the required tax, it gets escalated, it gets to Shalabh, it can go to our ombudsman as well. So that's a very important and critical fact. It's not just एक portal बना दिया, वहाँ रख दिया, कोई भेज रहा है, कोई देख नहीं रहा है. That's not how we follow. It is being monitored, it is being tracked, and we take it very seriously. Sorry, Prashant.
No, thank you, Ashish. That's true. Second, also, I just wanted to make sure that so we have been doing a lot of initiative, whether it be in terms of tech initiative, whether it be in terms of people-related initiative, whether in terms of benefits that we have been giving to our employees. What is this really culminating into, right? And I'm sure as analysts, you will all be thinking that what is it going, where is it heading to? I will tell you today that today our attrition levels against the industry, we are almost around 20% is lower. So that is where it all culminates into. The fact that, we have been doing this initiatives, it has been helping us. The numbers are good, but having said that, we feel that we can do much better in terms of our approach. So the journey ahead for us is basically, in terms of how do we move from employee satisfaction to creating employee delight in the organization. And the most important aspect we feel is that, we need to provide psychological safety to our people who are working in this organization. The second important aspect which we need to do is also in terms of our retention of employees, how do we bring about long-term incentive programs which are there, which is already being created to make sure that we retain these people who are there in the organization, the critical talent which is there. The second important thing which we want to talk about is in terms of inclusion and sustainability. Today, ESG is the mantra. And obviously, if you look at the ESG, the social and the governance structures, if you're talking about, has a lot of people element. And that is where we want to really focus upon. Today, we have fairly good diversity in our HO, but we want to make sure that, we are able to also create such kind of diversities down below at the field level as well. It's a difficult journey and it's a challenging journey. But I assure you, if you have taken the right steps, I'm sure we will be able to achieve that dream as well. The second important aspect, or rather the third one, is in terms of creating a learning organization. Today, if you really look at our processes and systems and the kind of work that we have been doing today, there is a certain way in which Spandana does its business. We want to codify this whole process and make sure that we standardize this and create a learning module around it so that anybody coming into Spandana to work with us, they would have all of this provided to them. The second important aspect is also the fact that today, if you look at our people who join us, many of them, this is their first job. So it is very important that we create the right kind of platform for them so that they can upskill themselves and they can learn and grow. And that's exactly what we would be focusing upon. And last but not the least is in terms of, how do we become an employer of choice? In that regard, while, Subhranshu talked about we are doing employee dipstick survey, we are definitely mapping the employee life journey and also understanding what is the engagement level in the organization. But having said that, the important aspect is creating the right employee value proposition that we would like to share to the people at the external world, so that when they come in, they are very clear as to why they should be joining Spandana. All said and done, all work and no play makes Spandana very dull. And we don't want to make that. So we want to have a fairly good amount of fun when we are doing all of these activities. So in one side, where we are having a lot of technology related activities, we want to make sure that the people element is not missed out. And we make sure that the camaraderie that is required in the organization is maintained. In that regard, we want to drive our Spandana 2.0 in the journey ahead through our core value system. In that regard, we have created a small video on our core value, which is I care. Let us see what this video talks about. Can you play the video, please?
Spandana core values. Values define the character, behavior, and culture of a company. They help in shaping the workplace culture, which promotes positive work environment, aid talent retention, and foster ethical decision making. Its core values are encompassed into I care, which reflects the company's responsible attitude towards caring for all stakeholders. At Spandana Sphoorty, where our values, integrity, collaboration, agility, receptiveness, and empathy drive us towards a future of shared success. Integrity, where integrity is at the core of everything we do. We believe in fairness and doing the right thing, ensuring that every decision reflects our commitment to honesty and transparency. Collaboration. At Spandana Sphoorty Financial Limited, we understand that true success is a collective effort. We put collaboration first, valuing the strength that comes from working together, celebrating together. Agility. In a world that moves at the speed of light, agility is our superpower. We execute fast and effectively, adapting to change with precision. At Spandana, agility is not just a skill, it is our way of staying ahead in a dynamic business landscape. Receptiveness. Open and honest communication is our lifeline. We believe in receptiveness, listening, understanding, and learning from one another. Empathy. We go beyond stakeholders, we build relationships based on empathy. At Spandana Sphoorty, we respect and care for each other, creating a culture where everyone feels valued and understood. These values are the building blocks of Spandana 2.0.
So as my MD keeps telling me, if you take care of your people will take care of your business. And I think that's what we are really striving for as we move ahead in Spandana 2.0, that we will take care of our people and our people will take care of the business. We will do it through a technology-enabled processes. We will do it through proper collaboration. We will do it through compliance and governance. And we will do it through our process with love and care. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our moderator and all our panelists. Thank you very much. I think this is the time, this is the moment to set the bars a bit more higher and achieve the grand success in the coming years. Can we all just put our hands together a bit more louder, ladies and gentlemen? That was absolutely an honor to have all the intelligent people onto the floor, sharing their views and of course, at the same time, bringing on the best out of the people out here. That was a great pack of knowledge. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess after hearing with a lot of technical market research, now it's time to go ahead with the Q&A session. You're going to be opening the floor for Q&A. If you have any questions, any queries, feel free. Well, to answer all your questions, may I please call upon stage our leaders. Once again, please welcome with a thunderous round of applause, Mr. Shalabh Saxena, everybody. Our CEO. And with him, may I please call upon stage Mr. Ashish Damani, CFO. Ladies and gentlemen, we can be a bit more louder with the applauses. Thank you very much.
Right, so thank you very much, Neha. It's important that there are, and I'm sure there'll be a few questions, if not more. Happy to answer all the questions. We have people out on the ground, sitting there, waiting for you to just raise your hand so that if there are questions, somebody can please give the mic to. We'll try to answer to the best of our ability. If we have to come back, we'll come back to you. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Anil Tulsiram here. I have two questions. First, under CGFMU, you have option to take credit guarantee insurance from Government of India by paying 1% premium, under which 3% to 15% of the portfolio will be covered. So do we have any plans to take it, and if not, a reason for the same? And second question is for customers who after completing say 3 to 4 credit cycles want to borrow 60 to 80,000. Do you think they will be willing to give the joint liability of the other customers, and I think they will prefer the individual loans? So do we have any such plans to do individual loans? And if not, the rationale for the same? That's it. Thank you.
So the first one I'll take. See, we are looking at a credit cost of about 1.5% if all goes well. The challenge with the program, the government program, is you have to pay 1%, and then there are a lot of bells and whistles. In fact, to qualify also there are certain, prerequisites which are there. So at this stage, we believe that we are comfortable with our, resting with our business as is. But yeah, at some stage we may, continue to evaluate. But right now we are very confident that, 1.5% se zyada nahi aana chahiye credit cost, and if all goes well, yeah.
To your second question, individual loans, I think it was covered by our colleague Ajay. Our belief in JLG is supreme, number one. Number two, we think there is enough headroom even now, because the penetration of the addressable market is about 45% in the country today as we speak. All said and done, the industry at a 4 lakh crore, slated to grow at 22%. There's enough and more in the JLG to kind of not really go overboard when it comes to a non-JLG or a individual loan. The third point, which is very, very critical, is where do you stop? Because companies kind of go to a 1.5, 2 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs. सबका risk appetite है. हमारा risk appetite है, वो हमको समझ में आती है. किसी और का risk appetite है, they will understand. As far as we are concerned, we are comfortable, and I think Vishal had mentioned this point. 80,000 is the max that we offer. For the next, until exit of 25, we will continue with this number. We think there is enough opportunities in the market without really taking undue risks. To each one, his or her own. As far as we are concerned, our risk appetite, we are comfortable with that number. So we'll continue. It is not that we have anything against against individual. We might do individual, but that will always at any given point in time be less than 5%. So that's for sure. Yeah, anybody else? Mic de do yaar idhar.
Sagar, you may want to take this also.
Hi, my name is Balkrishna Bagasia. So usually हमने presentation देखा आप you have a target of more than 5% of ROA, right? So if I look at the blocks of, let's say, various blocks of 5 years in last 15 years. So on an average अगर मैं निकालता हूँ तो हर 5 साल में 3 के आसपास का एवरेज बनता है. तो हाउ इज दिस सस्टेनेबल? फॉर एग्जांपल हमने एक बार अचीव कर भी लिया, उसके बाद क्या सस्टेनेबल लेवल क्या हो सकता है आपके हिसाब से?
देखिए 4.5% का हमने आरओए का नंबर डाला है. जो आप पिछले 15 साल आप देखें उसमें 3 बड़े इवेंट हुए हैं. एक 2011 में आंध्रा क्राइसिस था या आंध्रा ऑर्डिनेंस था, नंबर 1. 2016 नवंबर में डिमोनेटाइजेशन हुआ और कोविड वाज अ ग्लोबल क्राइसिस. आप एंड विच इज व्हाई आई सेड ऑल ऑफ दिस इज सब्जेक्ट टू नो सच शॉक्स, यू नो, एंड दीज आर ऑल ग्लोबल शॉक्स. दिस इंडस्ट्री इज मैच्योर इनफ टू हैंडल लोकलाइज डिसरप्शंस. उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता. वो एक कहीं पे फ्लड आया, 2 महीने डिरेल होगा, फिर वापस इट विल कम बैक टू टू इट्स ओन पेस. So to the extent possible, assuming reasonable scenario, we are not saying ideal scenario, we are saying reasonable scenario, you know, we are comfortable, we are confident that the delivery will happen. There are things that we don't know. For things that we don't know, obviously, you know, it's difficult to kind of comment. But this is a reasonably matured and standardized industry with a standardized output. You should know how to play this game. If you know how to play this game, the output is taken care of, is our belief. We've kind of, it's been 6 months, 6 quarters that we've been doing it. We've been doing this business, we've been in this business for quite some time. We understand this. Assuming everything to be okay, I think, you know, we should be able to, we are reasonably confident.
Second question is, according to you, what should be the ideal AUM that a loan officer should manage?
Ideal? Yeah, sure. So, you know, currently we are at about 1.1, 1.2 crores AUM. COVID has taught us that you should not overburden, you know, a loan officer. Our estimate, and by the numbers that were presented, you know, we anticipate in the next 2 to 3 years, the number to go up to about 1.4 to 1.5 crores. That's the on the dollar side. On the customer side, 450 to 475 is a good number. Personally, the distribution that I have seen, we've gone up to a 600 number as well. But that was pre-COVID. COVID has taught us that you have to be slightly more cautious. So a 450, 475 is a comfortable number for us. I think that's the number that we are aiming for.
And the last question. So there is a lot of buzz about unsecured lending these days, and there is a regulatory guidance from RBI also. So in terms of microfinance, to what extent do you see those kind of trends?
So it's a very good question. Risk of unsecured is a definite risk. There is absolutely no doubt about it. What hence you have to do is to be slightly, and that is why if you see the theme of our presentation, what are we saying? We are saying we'll be muted on ticket sizes, number 1. We said we are tracking indebtedness, not ticket sizes. Ticket size has no meaning. I mean, I'm just kind of exaggerating to communicate the point. You know, I can give you 30,000 ticket size, but give you 1 loan every 3 months. You know, indebtedness at a borrower level for the company is what we track as institution, and that is what we are completely focused on. At any, if you see, you know, we are currently at about 36,000. There are companies that are 47, 48,000 also, and there are companies which are at a 30,000 also. Sabka apna apna ek appetite hota hai. We are comfortable at a 36. We will be in this range only. हमारा कोई एम्बिशन नहीं है 45,000 50,000 का इंडेटेडनेस पहुंचने का. हम यहीं पे, क्योंकि सी व्हाट इज द अंडरलाइंग थॉट इज देयर इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी. डोंट गो ओवरबोर्ड, डोंट फॉल फॉर इट. ये आपको उस अपॉर्चुनिटी को थोड़ा मेहनत करके लेके आ जाओ आप, धीरे 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 करके. यू हैव टू पेस योर इनिंग्स एज आई से. दिस इज अ टेस्ट मैच दैट वी आर प्लेइंग. दिस इज नॉट अ T20, एंड फॉर श्योर दिस इज नॉट द स्लॉग ओवर्स ऑफ अ T20. फॉर श्योर ये बिजनेस में बहादुरी का कोई काम नहीं है. जोश में होश गंवाना नहीं चाहिए. बिल्कुल आराम से धीरे धीरे काम करना चाहिए. इसमें टाइम लगेगा.
I'll just add 2 points to that. The first one is if you look at our journey, लास्ट 6 क्वार्टर में हमने 50% लोन दिए नए कस्टमर्स को. सो वी आर जस्ट एडिंग कस्टमर्स, एंड व्हेन यू ऐड द कस्टमर, हमारा प्रोसेस है कि फर्स्ट टाइम बोरोवर को हम कम लोन देते हैं. इनफैक्ट वीकली में हम 35,000 देते हैं, मंथली में वी गो अप टू वी हैव 42,000. एंड दिस इज दीज टिकट साइजेस हैव बीन केप्ट फॉर अस फॉर नाउ ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 3 years. The same ticket sizes have been continuing. The second point is, Shalabh was talking about, you know, number of loans to a borrower. At Spandana, the count is 1.1. You take the industry, you can map it. People are as high as 1.8 or maybe more than 2 also. But right now we are at 1.1, and probably we will be like this. We probably increase a little bit. When we do weekly, we would want people to take, loans at regular intervals, but those loans will be, much smaller ticket sizes. So exposure is what we track, and that is much lower compared to the industry, and that's how we are comfortable with.
Haji, next question, please. Haji.
Yeah, now that...
yes, please.
Yeah, Ratnamala here. There is a consolidation happening. If you see a couple of transactions, large transactions, Crate Access couple of years back. Now recently Swatantra announced that they will actually take, Chaitanya. So how does this impact players like Spandana?
So look, there are two parts to this. One is what are we as an institution doing, and two is obviously there's a shareholder play in this. So I have Karthik here with me from Kedara, so I'll be happy to I'll give you my side of the management version of, where are we focused, and I'll request him to answer from a Kedara point of view. As far as the management is concerned, look, the heads and hands might change. The company has to run. This is an institution. This is now a 10,000 crore company. End of 2 quarters from now, end of this year, we will be 12,000. End of next year will be 15,000. 15,000 crore ki company mein there are responsibilities, and there's a critical mass which will keep on chugging along, which will keep on delivering the results that you want. So the results are irrespective of whatever happens. I am not the right person to answer, but from a management point of view, I think we are completely focused on the delivery. Number one. Number two, we have our set ethos. We have our set core philosophies. Very old-fashioned, very conservative, very traditional, but that is what it is. So can't change it. We are too old to be changed. Now, the point we are trying to say is that, given this pace at which we are going, for irrespective of whatever, the institution will deliver. That's what I thought, I'll just add before, if somebody can hand over the mic to Karthik, So just to introduce, Karthik Kaji, he represents Kedara. Long-term supporter of, Spandana, has been around for quite some time. He was responsible for, we being here, so the first conversation that I had was with Karthik. Karthik, over to you.
Thanks, Shalabh, very kind. I don't know if you're happy about that or sad about that, but thank you anyway. No, look, as Shalabh was saying, we've been shareholders of Spandana for a very long period of time. And I think we've always tried to take a very long-term view as shareholders from the beginning, right? Whether that's injecting capital into the company, investing in rebuilding the management team, investing in technology. Because we firmly believe if you take the right decision in the long-term interest of the company, that'll result in better shareholder value for all of us, including ourselves, right? That's always the view we've taken. Ultimately, we are a private equity firm. We aren't, here forever. But we're in no rush either. The vehicle that holds Spandana has quite a couple of years left ahead of it on the clock, so there's no rush from that perspective. And that vehicle has actually performed quite well. So, we have the ability to extend that if we need to. So our view is that, we want to support the business through the good times and the bad. We certainly supported it in the bad times. And we definitely want to be around for the good times, which we think are sort of well on their way right now. But as and when an opportunity arises in the future to, I think, leave the company in a better form than where we found it, be it in somebody else's hands, be it as part of a larger institution, or just indeed a broadly held public company, that is the right long-term direction for Spandana. There are no such plans today or tomorrow, but in the future, of course, as I said, we can't be here forever. But rest assured, whatever happens, whenever it happens, it will be done in a way that leaves the company better off than where we found it.
Thanks, Karthik.
Thank you.
Yes. Any more? Hanji. Haji.
So RBI has been quite vocal on the interest rate charged by MFIs. In a couple of the speeches, RBI governor himself said that some of the MFIs have taken sharp interest rate hike after the regulatory change. So what are our stance there, and how are we protecting ourselves against that, any regulatory activism on that?
So, 2 answers to your question. India, there are registered about 206 or 207 microfinance companies. The top 10 companies constitute about 90% of the industry. अगर आप उन top 10 का आप interest rates देखें, तो 23, 24 से 26 तक के बीच के range है. This is part 1 of the answer. There are other companies which operate in pockets, which are registered microfinance companies, charging much, much higher rates. 30%, 31%, 32%, so on and so forth. So, there was no specific name taken or whatever, but general guidance is that just be cautious. just because there was an opportunity given to you, don't go overboard. I think that's the nudge that the regulator has given. Now, if you look at our specific to Spandana, if you look at our calculations, the calculations that we do, basis the method or the spread, पहले क्या था? Cost plus 10 का allowable था. उस मेथड से आज मैं कैलकुलेट करता हूं हमारा, तो रफली आता है 12.1, 12.2. तो which is instead of a 10, it is a 12.1, 12.2. At any given point in time, given the high cost of operating the model and the fact that this is unsecured lending and the fact that this is last mile delivery, do we think that a 12.1 is usurious by any stretch of imagination? I would really hesitate to say a yes. It is definitely a no if you were to ask me. However, in a long term, if there are specific discussions with anybody, happy to kind of get into a discussion, and then whatever is the aligned position, we'll kind of move on. But be rest assured that from a point of view of institution, we are absolutely clear that, if and then there is this macros, which is the repo rate, which also, it kind of, whether it goes up or down, although it has been kind of stable, post the repo rates, if you see the last year and a half, it has almost gone up. The rates have gone up by about 2.5%. To a lot we've absorbed, and for the last 4 quarters we've been steady from an interest rate point of view. If everything goes well and if there is a stable environment, we might go and start reducing as well. There's no doubt about it. We'll pass on the benefit to the customer. But our current rates also, if I were to see, they are reasonable in our view. I've given you a comparator, a 10% versus a 12.1. Probably, we have to be mindful as what the regulator is saying, and for sure, at every given point in time, we keep evaluating that position.
Sure. Secondly, your ROA guidance for FY28 is lower than the ROA guidance for FY25. What is the rationale for that? Because during that 3 years, there should be some operating leverage which should play out.
See, largely, I think what we have guided for is over 4.5%. Idea is to, like Shalabh was explaining, idea is to lever the balance sheet, focus on, ROE. At some stage, not now, but at some stage, we will have to look at reducing the interest rates as we grow, and that's what has been built into the plan. We do understand that, sustainably trying to do more than 5% ROA over the years is something that the regulator may also frown about. So it makes sense to, stay put between that 4.5% and 5% kind of a. What is really important is the ROE piece, and that will kick in with the leverage, and that's what we'll focus on.
Sure. And lastly, the business which Chris Financial is doing, why don't we do that business in the standalone balance sheet itself? Because we have significant headroom of non-MFI assets. Now.
The LAP and
the LAP and nano enterprise loans.
So this is a separate balance sheet. We are doing it in the subsidiary called Chris Finance Limited, where the LAP as well as the nano will be housed. Not just because it will have a good rub-off on the balance sheet altogether, but also from a qualifying assets perspective. Given that we are an NBFC MFI, we need to have 75% of our assets which should be into qualifying. That's one more reason why we have it housed in the subsidiary.
No, I think what he's saying is, why don't you do the Chris business in SSFL? I think that's the question, right?
Yes, yes.
So the second part of my response is the answer.
Because the
you do it in this balance sheet, you have a total headroom of 25% in terms of non-qualifying. Within that, if you look at most of the NBFC MFIs, they hold around between 10 and 15% as liquid cash. And today, cash is not considered as a part of your, qualifying asset. So it becomes a double whammy. So it's little challenging. In fact, it's a blessing in disguise that we have a subsidiary where we are housing this.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Nitish.
Haji.
Good evening, sir. I'm Rohit from.
Can I request 1 second? Haji, boliye. Haji, boliye.
Yeah, hi. So, basically, Shalabh, you talked about that there are a lot of knowns and then basically there are a lot of unknowns. So how do you build the counter-cyclicality in the business, like in terms of building provision buffers, capital buffers, leadership backups down the order as such? A lot of you are basically, some of you are actually new in the organization, some are actually old. but some point of time you will also have to build in the leadership backup in the company. Then basically talked about plan till to 2028 when you want to have 28,000 crores of AUM in the company itself. But whether the structure of the organization will remain same, or you feel that at that point of time you need to look at maybe some different business model, maybe a pure NBFC model or a maybe SFB model that you might explore.
So when we plan, we don't plan for today. ये जो हमने यहाँ पे ये चेयर लगा के जो बिठाए हैं, ये 10,000 crore के लिए नहीं था. ये already plan, when we plan, it's always a 5, 7, 8, 10,000 ahead. When we got the team together at any given point in time, the 18,000, 17,000 was always on our mind. And that is why we planned for it. I can say with reasonable confidence that the team that we have here, and this is just the 13 or 14 of us, there are layers below that we have set up, which are good for a 28. So 28 में field पे थोड़ा बहुत हमारे को we'll have to augment, but at a head office and a senior leadership level, we are fine. This is exactly what we did in any organization. When you want to scale up, you start scaling up to a 2x minimum, because the controls and supervisions have to be put up in advance for that kind of a scale. So controls and supervision do not scale up as you grow. It has to be a top down, and your bottom up will only be your sales efforts and when you get incremental sales. So I can say with reasonable surety that for the teams that we have at the head office and the CXO level and a CXO -1, and to a certain extent even up to a VP and a SVP level, we are good, barring about 3 or 4 positions when we really start hitting across the 20,000 crore mark. So we are fine on that. Field mein and the nano and the lab business, that requires significant beefing up, which we will do and we will always plan a 9 to 12 months in advance. So abhi हमने जो structure बनाया है NAP और lab और nano में, it is good for about 1,500, 1,700. The moment we touch the 1,000, we'll start planning for the next 2,500, 3,000. That's how we think. That's how we kind of align the distribution model. Head office obviously more or less is a scale game.
I'll just provision buffer and capital buffers you can talk about.
Yeah, I'll respond to that, and I'll just add to what Shalabh was saying. While he touched upon about that point in a passing, but the guys who were sitting here, Ajay, Vishal, Sriraj, each one of them have handled anywhere between 6,000 crores to 9,000 crores individually. Vishal was heading an institution where he was managing about 28, 30,000 crores. So we do have that experience which is required to get to the level. In terms of buffers for on the balance sheet, for we follow ECL. We are under the Ind AS and we follow the ECL guidelines. So it predominantly is driven by the PDs that you have in the business, and doing any counter cyclical is not very friendly that way. At some stage, we will definitely look at bringing in management overlays, because once you bring them in, you need to continue to, your balance sheet needs to continue to support whatever decisions or whatever toggles you build. So that's why not at this point in time, but at some stage we will look at that aspect.
But isn't it basically the right time to build those kind of counter-cyclical buffers? Because I think you speak to any other NBFC, MFI, SFB, everybody is talking about building the buffers now and not maybe at the later stage, because this is where basically you're making almost like 5% kind of an ROIs. So why at later stage?
So we have already moved to 70% in terms of doing our provision coverage ratio. We do have decent amount of provisioning on our SMA buckets. We do have reasonable amount of provisioning in our, and we are an institution which is looking at this very closely. Moment it moves into 60, we are holding about 43% provisioning on the asset. So it is in a way already built into the structure right now. And if I have to really look at the portfolio from a static pool perspective, I think we are very comfortable right now. But yeah, I do hear your point. As you are growing and go to 28,000 crores, there have to be more buffers which should be planned, and we will look at them at an appropriate stage.
On the provisioning and safety side, be rest assured we'll be a step ahead. The 50 to 70 when we went, I mean, nobody pushed us or prodded us. In fact, if you see our history, it was, I think, the third quarter of our taking in. First quarter we wrote off. We waited for 2 quarters. We were at 50 at that time, 50%. The third quarter we jumped to a 60 था या 60 से फिर से, huh? 50, so the third quarter of us coming in, we straight away went into a 70, and we are always a step ahead, So this is something that is the conservative side of us. At any given point in time, this is not something that, you'll find us lacking at any given point in time.
In fact, I think you should look at our last quarter's results. We have also disclosed it in the thing. Anything which we are taking, from the legacy period in terms of, charges or whatever have also been provided. We are not keeping it on the balance sheet as if it is not needed to be, addressed. So that's something we've been doing. And we moved from 55 to 70, just to complete that point which Shalabh was making. We also have introduced a policy on write-off, which was not there, where anything which moves into 365, we are, going ahead and taking the balance 30% as a hit on the P&L.
Haji, next.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Haji.
Good evening. This is
Haji.
yeah. So my question is on LAP. So your customers of LAP are usually self-employed and salaried individuals. So how do you procure fresh customers? Like how the data comes in? Like is it a cost per acquisition or cost per lead kind of a model, or you basically buy the data or some internal kind of referencing?
No. So the way we have our construct of the LAP and Nano has nothing to do with microfinance. It is a separate set of people, separate branch, separate geography. Independent merit of the geography and the locality drives our decision to operate in that location. In fact, the Chief Business Officer, you heard him, Sushanta Tripathi, he looks after only those 2 lines. We have no ambition to cross-sell a LAP into microfinance or vice versa. If at all it happens, it will be less than 1 or 2%, and it will be by accident, not by design. Now, to your specific question, we feel that, and we did a significant amount of interaction, some research, going out into these markets. This is the segment which is the so-called missing middle, as in the banks don't really treat them because it's too low for them. Our average ticket size is about 4.5 lakhs. So 4.5 lakh ka loan against property बहुत छोटा होता है उनके लिए. So most of the people tend to ignore it. So hence we thought that, and for this profile of customers, this is a good business to be in. Let us test this out. And the initial results were very good, and hence we decided to kind of scale it up. We will go into, and there are enough and more geographies across the towns of India. We are still in the semi-urban and the lower part of the urban. So this is still the bottom of the pyramid of the urban or the semi-urban mid segment. These are not deep rural villages, like our microfinance business. So it's a different market. Our sense is that, our risk appetite is good for about 4 to 6 lakhs kind of a ticket size, and in the nano enterprise from 60,000 to 1,20,000. That's the range that we will operate in. Both the businesses have tremendous opportunity, and that's how we are going to scale it up.
Yeah, and what is your conversion percentage of logins in LAP?
What is the conversion percentage in?
Logins in LAP.
27. Shushanta?
Yeah, 27-28% है. अभी
27%.
Industry is at about 40, but we are not the industry yet. We have still to walk our steps, and we are very cautiously going step by step. We are at 27 with about, almost about 70 to 73% rejections. We are fine. We'll go step by step, and we'll kind of take our journey ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anji, और कोई? आखिरी question.
Thank you. Again, on the insurance part, see, for touchwood, if any unfortunate event happens in the next, say, 3, 4, 5 years, any black swan event, there are only 2 ways to protect it. First, you take insurance. Okay. Second, you create counter-cyclical provisions. We are not doing either. So, in what way we are protecting ourselves for the next black swan event if it happens?
See, your initial, while Ashish answered, we have a very good understanding of how this insurance product works. Our experience, and while Ashish mentioned 1.5, we did a lot of calculations during COVID because this product was available then also. For the premium that you pay, and if your loss rates are 1.5 to 2%, this product does not work. We've done enough and more research on this, and we can have a separate discussion outside of this. So we've done a lot of, and we came to a point of signing in our previous organization, and we dropped it off because 2-3 reasons. One is the premiums are high. Two is it helps only when your loss rates are much, much higher, which is the situation that you're mentioning in. Now, ultimately, somebody has to pay, which is the customer in this case. Obviously, you will not, you try explaining this to the customer. It is a bit of a challenge, number one, because it adds to your premium. Because there's already a credit shield which you are taking from the customer and the spouse in a microfinance. We insure two lives, the member, which is the lady, and the spouse of the lady. दो के बाद ये इसके प्रीमियम्स बड़े हैवी होते हैं, and there are lots of ifs and buts. Forget whether you get how much claims you get and all. I mean, it's a whole long process that goes through. We've gone through that cycle, been there, done that. We can kind of happy to now that you raised it, and I'm sure there is a decent enough reason. We'll definitely go and see if there is a merit, if something has changed from what we took, the exercise that we took about a couple of years back when COVID was at its peak. There were many suggestions. Even before the COVID-1 hit. After the COVID-1 hit, somebody said, and we kind of went into the detail. It didn't work out at that point in time. Assuming a BAU of 2% loss, अगर 4-5% का loss हो गया, तो वो काम आता है. फिर वो काम बनता है उसमें. But वो उस time पे हमारा करा नहीं था. We'll happy to kind of have a look at it.
I will also add. See, what are we saying? Microfinance, yes, there are events which happen, external events, and where there are challenges which will erupt. But if you look at the way we are going to build business, no state will have more than 12%. So we are trying to diversify, because आपका जब भी hit आता है या event होता है, it's not that COVID जैसा event होगा तो अलग बात है, but otherwise it is geography specific or state specific normally. Unless it is an external event, if you look at the customer's intent, that has been solid. We have seen this in the industry across institutions that the repayment rates are good. Although it used to be 1%, now we are talking, the industry is talking about 2% or so. That's part one. Second part is, we have talked about that our balance sheet, we will always maintain 25% or over 25% in terms of capital adequacy. This is just to add to the point sir was asking earlier. The third thing is, see, in this business, जब तक आप कस्टमर को ये बता सकते हो कि हम हैं, खड़े हैं आपके लिए, whenever you need loan, then you're sorted. Because उनका intent भी है और आपका भी intent है कि आप business continue करोगे. So for that, we are ensuring that we are highly liquid as well. Look at our balance sheet. At any stage, in any quarter, we've been maintaining more than 1,500 crores of liquidity. That would mean my repayments to the banks of 2 months or so, and my cost, if I have to look at our internal policies, by the way, 1 month of bank repayments and 3 months of operating cost. However, we are much above that. We've been maintaining like 3x, 4x of whatever is required right now, and will always be like that. Because in microfinance, like you are rightly putting out, right, these are the measures which will come very handy when there is an event outside.
Right. So I think we've already overshot on time. Thank you very much. You can take the questions while we are moving around. One last request I have, and this is a very special one. While we'll open up, Neha, I'm doing your job. So when you go out, obviously after this you can, we'll open the bar and dinner is on. As you are going out, just as a token of appreciation for the time that you spent, we have procured, we've got from our borrowers, which is our customers, Madhubani paintings, which are, as you go out, you will have our team members kind of hand it over to you. Please take it and go. Don't leave it, is our request. These have been carefully, our customers did a great job. In about 20-25 days, they've kind of dished out those paintings. As you go, please take them and do remember us. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for coming and spending time with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I must say that was a great pack of knowledge indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we have come to an end of Spandana 2.0 Invested in Bharat. I thank each and everyone right here. Thank you very much for gracing this occasion with your presence and making this illustrious evening a grand success. On that note, this is Neha Argupta signing off. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Please don't forget to take dinner and cocktails. It's all open. And on that note, wishing you all a very, very happy New Year in advance. See you all next year probably with a great